pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger roll with Planet. Water towers, fly! Flight downside of speed off. SPE off.
Yikes. You bet. Okay. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay, good. Whew. That's how we start the streams. You know how it goes. Let me know that you can see and hear me. 5x5 over here in the chat. That looks good. Potato salad. That's actually what I was eating for breakfast / lunch there. Thank you so much, and welcome back to another exciting episode of The Wrong Hat. This was the stream. This was the hat for this morning. Hang on a second. That's not even the correct hat that we're supposed to be wearing. That's a Falcon 9 hat. This is actually... Oh, this hat looks so crazy on me. This is actually an episode of Texas Tank Watchers. Back from Boca Chica, Texas, I'm John Galloway with NASASpaceflight. You should be able to see that this is a Starship test, and we are looking at SN6 to do a 150-meter hop today. Of course, the official worldwide headquarters of Texas Tank Watchers here on the NASA Spaceflight channel. We've already spooled up a live feed from Boca Chica, Texas, courtesy of Mary. Boca Chica gal, if you're a channel member, you may already see that feed over there. For members of a certain level and higher, you are able to see some of those live feeds before we put the official stream up. So really quickly up there, just really quickly, you saw my information. I'm on Twitter as K-Space Academy. Joining me in the studio today, I gotta put these on so I can hear him. Joining me in the studio today is Michael Baylor. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I apologize for just accidentally double tapping and displaying your name for only a second. There you go.
It's all good. It's back. I like it. Look, chat. Look at how fantastic this is up here. Michael Baylor is a webcast host, programmer extraordinaire with NASA Spaceflight. Have you decided on a new title yet, Michael?
No, it's still in the works. I'm going to need help with that.
Okay, time out. Look, I'll be honest, this is a little much because I've got the Texas Tank Watchers hat, and then I've got the Roadside Rocket Science shirt, and I just realized that it's the same silhouette twice. We need to get a fresh silhouette from Boca Chica so we get a new tank farm skyline. We'll switch over to, I have lots of hats at my desk. It's sort of my thing to wear hats, so I have lots of options to choose from. But like I usually say, y'all don't come here to look at me or hear me talk. As cool as the Texas Tank Watching merch may be, you actually come here to check out the live feed from Boca Chica. I hear Boca Chica. Let's see if we've got a live feed from Boca Chica right now. Stand by. It looks like we're slightly off center. We do have a live feed from Boca Chica, but stand by, y'all. We're going to, we're looking at Hopper right now. Let me roll over to the back channel and see what the deal is. Stand by.
Yeah, I think maybe Mary was showing us some grass venting while we were off doing the intro, but there was some grass venting earlier, so I think that's what Mary was showing us. But there you go.
There we go. All right, good to go. Now, there we go. All right, let her know what's going on. So, of course, we're starting off the stream with our close-in shot here. You can see that there is some heat haze down there, as there usually is. It's currently just after 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time in South Texas, and we are looking for a hop. We know that the road has been closed. We know that the pad has been cleared, and we are waiting to see what we like to call tank farm activity. So once we get up to that tank farm starting to not just a little vent here and there, but really start to go, that is our next part in the countdown here. After that, we would be listening for a siren. Remember, we've got that nice ambient audio coming in the background. If I need to modify that a little bit, let me know. But we should be able, 10 minutes in advance of the actual hop attempt, we should hear a siren, like a police siren, U.S.-style police siren, I guess I should say. And that will be the next thing that we are looking for after tank farm activity. That signals about T-minus 10 minutes. And if all goes well, 10 minutes after that siren, we should get a hop. Of course, that is SN6. Starship prototype SN6 with a slight earthquake there. And that is the fuel tankage. It's got a big methane tank. It's got a big liquid oxygen tank. And it has a single Raptor engine up underneath the skirt. there on the bottom. That big mass simulator up on the top. But us, it's actually got real mass. It's not simulating mass. The little hat, the box on the top of that thing, that is over 20 tons of steel. And they put that there to basically as a stand-in for the mass that would normally be the front of Starship, the nose cone, the body structure, payload, etc., etc., etc. They need that up there to maintain the vehicle's balance and to make sure that that Raptor can basically throttle down enough to land the thing. So if it's too light, you may not be able to turn the Raptor down enough to land, but with the mass sim up on top, it stands in for that normal mass and helps the entire vehicle operate the way it should. But again, that is Starship prototype SN6, serial number 6. And they are going to try to do a 150-meter hop today. So as we always do, we do these streams live. We'll be doing some live commentary. I know a lot of people are like, oh gosh, I just wish they would shut up. God, they talk too much. Geez. If you feel that way, feel free to subscribe to the channel, become a member, and go over to the live stream with no commentary that we have. I'm just kidding. I mean, you can just mute our commentary. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. But we are, and speaking of commentary, answering questions. If you have a question for us, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. That'll put your question into a queue, and as we get time, we will circle around and try to answer some of those questions. Also, we're able to do these things because of your support, not just showing up for the stream, but there's also some super chats that are already coming in, like Shaylin Funk. Nice. In before Moldy Space. It literally says in before Moldy Space. You must not be your first rodeo on the stream here, Shaylin. Thank you for the support. And then, actually, second in line, Moldy Space Industries. $2 for stream number 2. Howdy, everyone. How you doing, Moldy Space Industries? Also, we got some from Matthew Lane here from Canada, it looks like. Thank you, Matthew. And then Rough Riders Show. $2 for stream 2. Nice. It seems like that's a common theme right now. So everybody with the super chats, we will read them out as we get a chance as they come in. If you do a super chat and we don't drop everything and say thank you right away, just be advised, we've got that in the queue. We circle back when we get a chance, but we do appreciate your support. That's why we can keep doing these things. The other reason, I don't even know if we should say it's the other reason, the biggest reason that we're able to bring y'all these live streams from Boca Chica specifically is because Mary is out there. Boca Chica gal is set up with multiple cameras again. I think she has 3 or 4 cameras set up. We've got this nice zoomed in shot. We've got a wider zoomed out shot for the hop. And she's got some local recording in full quality, 1080, 60 FPS, etc., etc. And she is crewing all of those cameras down there. So put some love in chat for Mary. You spell her name M-A-R-Y. That's what I want to see in chat. Somebody just say thank you to Mary for being out there and braving the Texas heat and humidity as we get this live stream going from Boca Chica, Texas. Again, we don't know the exact timing on these things. SpaceX doesn't tell us officially, here is the exact time that we're counting down. They don't have like a big countdown clock. They don't have an official live stream that I'm aware of for today. But we do watch the activity of the tank farm, and that is how we know. Unfortunately, that means that I can't tell you, okay, in exactly 33 minutes, the launch attempt is going to happen. We don't have that sort of detail for you. So we will be watching the Pelican fly by, apparently. Hello, Pelican. And as we see different things happen on the tank farm, like I said, that tank farm activity, the massive amounts of venting and vaporization coming from the tank farm, that's the next thing we're looking for. And we can start to dial in our guess as to how close we'll be as we see some more of those things. But I unfortunately cannot tell you, well, you know, come back in exactly 38 minutes. And that's when the hop attempt is, because SpaceX doesn't tell us. Again, it's a highly experimental thing they're doing here, and it may take them longer. They may do it faster. They may have to scrub. The window extends all the way to the end of the day today. I believe it goes all the way to 8 p.m. local time, doesn't it, Michael?
Yes, that's correct. And
yes.
Mary also got an alert notice. It also had that same window. So 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the road closures and the alert notice given to residents.
Yeah, so we've got just under 9 hours remaining in the attempt today. Again, SpaceX puts an awful lot of work into putting together these prototypes. They are not here to crash this thing for your amusement or your entertainment. If they see something in the countdown and they go for 9 hours and they end up scrubbing, just please be advised and understand that SpaceX is going to make the right decision for their test program, regardless of whether or not you've been sitting here for 8 hours. They are not here to try and entertain you. They're trying to test this vehicle out and get good experimental data so that they can continue the development of the Starship program down there in Boca Chica. I almost said Mocha Chica. Sounds like small coffee or something. But anyways, I am going to super school over to the back channel really quick and see that everything is good to go.
Looks good so far.
Yeah, I haven't seen any problems. Chat, let me know on the audio. Is the audio 5x5? We are getting a couple shakes there. Let me ask Mary if that's wind noise or what. How's the wind? Question mark.
Yeah, and speaking of wind, Sean Ring was asking us for a weather check. If you remember the last top attempt, which was this past Sunday, was aborted twice. I think the first time was probably a technical problem, but the second time we believe they aborted due to wind. So that's something they're going to be watching again today, and we believe the reason they did not attempt on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday was due to unfavorable weather forecasts. So Jack and Mary, who are both out there right now, I think they both said the wind was pretty mellow in the morning, but I think Jack's latest report from where he is watching from is that the wind isn't picking up. So that's something to watch, but it's still, according to Jack, lighter than it was on Sunday. So we're not sure what the exact constraint and what the exact limit is on the wind, but it does seem to be picking up. It's still better than last weekend.
Gotcha. I'm getting ready to put the weather radar in picture here. I'm setting up to do those presentations and stuff like that. But we'll get to answering some questions here and doing some, wow, a lot more super chats. There's an entire scroll bar filled with super chats already. Y'all need to simmer down with the super chats. I'm like doing other stuff right now. The Mocha Chica Rocket Coffee brought to you by NASASpaceflight.
Mr. Beatnik asks, do you think SpaceX will send with the bigger fairing they have to develop for classified payloads? Will it send more Starlink satellites at once if Falcon Heavy? So I guess you're asking if the bigger fairing that's going to be developed for national security missions on Falcon Heavy could be used to launch a bunch of Starlink satellites from Falcon Heavy. That's an interesting question. If I had to guess, no. There's a lot more logistical challenges with Falcon Heavy, given that you have 3 cores. So I think they'll probably just stick to Falcon 9, but I'm not sure. You never know what can happen. But I have not heard of any plans to launch anything. But I have not heard of any plans to use anything but Falcon 9 or Starship for Starlink. Of course, once Starship is completed, SpaceX hopes to move to Starship so that they can launch a lot more satellites in a single mission. But I think Falcon Heavy is too logistically complex to make sense of Starlink.
There we go. I'm making sure the telestration and everything works there. There you can see the current weather radar, not seeing any real rain issues there. I put a dot where Mary is, then I put a dot where SN6 is. Mary is about 1.5, 1.6 miles away from SN6. So that shot that you see on the screen, that is looking through over 1.5 miles of atmosphere, but it's looking good so far, and we continue towards this hop attempt. And my little drawing tricks and stuff like that are also working, which makes me happy. So, all right. Let's grab some more super chats here really quickly. Sander Kadis, that's a new membership. We appreciate you, Sander. Thank you so much for that support. Space Pony says, thank you, Mary. Long time since you're hiding in shrubs at night, ninja days taking pics. But what? I don't know if Mary has ever hidden in a shrubbery or anything like that. She's been taking legitimate pictures as long as I can remember, but maybe she did hide in a bush at some point. Maybe that's before my time. I don't know. Build into Trains, thank you so much. $6 for SN6. We appreciate you. Tom P, that's a new membership as well. Thank you, Tom P. Heather Nichols, again, you showed up with that high score earlier, Heather. Thank you so much with another super chat saying, Mary, you are the best. Thanks for all you do. We appreciate the kind words there, Heather. Thank you so much for that support. Richard Buck has some euros in there. Thank you, Richard. Sambo, greetings from Bristol, UK. Thank you to Mary and the team. Let's do this. Thank you, Sambo. We appreciate you there. CJ Sonic, watching from Germany, it looks like. Hello from Germany, watching or throwing love at Mary. I watch your pictures every morning. Thanks so much. How long does tanking normally take? From the time we see the big activity at the tank farm, it's usually around an hour. Is it 30 minutes? What are we thinking these days, Michael?
Like how long before the hop tank farm spools up?
Yeah.
I think it's usually been like 40 to 50 minutes, but it's hard to say exactly because it seems like each countdown has a built-in hold, or not a built-in hold, there's like a hold at some point in the countdown that they have to use for whatever reason to work on an issue or wait for propellant temperatures to reach the right levels. So each countdown is slightly different. So there's not like an exact time. If we see their methane recondenser go off at X, that means it's going to launch at Y. It's not really like that. It's a very fluid timeline, but approximately 40 to 50 minutes, I think is a good guess.
Gotcha. And as of right now, not seeing a lot of activity there at the tank farm. We're waiting to see all sorts of vapor come off that to indicate that they have really started to move things around and prepare them to fuel that SN6. Another one there from Drake Tamer says, funding for the NASA spaceflight weather station. I actually think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be cool to have a little anemometer and a humidity. What do you call it? A hygrometer, a thermometer. There's a lot of ometers there. That would be actually a cool idea to have a little weather station somewhere out there. So we could actually say, let's check in with the NASA spaceflight local weather for Boca Chica, Texas. But again, I'm not a meteorologist. I just am a live stream guy. Here is another one, H3 Lishka, maybe. H3 Lishka, thank you for the super chat there. And then Tommy Vaske, greetings from Sweden. Thanks for streaming. These are truly exciting times. I don't know if it was Vaske or Vaske or Vasker. The E is silent, or maybe the V is silent. I don't know. I'm not Swedish, but we appreciate the support there, Tommy. Thank you so much. Let's see there. How many Raptors? Here's a question, Michael. How many Raptors are there in SN6?
So there is only one, but there is room for 3. So there is a triangular configuration at the bottom of the vehicle where they mount the engines, and only one of those spots has a Raptor. So the thrust that's produced by this Raptor will be offset slightly, so you're going to see the vehicle power slide a bit as it leaves the pad, and we saw that with the SN5 hop. The reason they don't have all 3 Raptors is because this is a very small hop, so they do not need 3 Raptors to produce too much thrust for today's test, basically. So instead, they've kind of just used a single Raptor with that mass simulator to hold the vehicle down, because there's going to be very little propellant in this vehicle. That helps them reduce the risk if there were to be an anomaly. So instead of putting a lot of propellant in the vehicle, they reduce the number of Raptors and put a mass simulator on top.
Alrighty.
SN8 will be the first Starship to receive 3 Raptors if the current plans hold.
Yeah, Raptors and a nose cone and aero surfaces? Is that what Elon tweeted?
That's the current plan. Who knows if that will hold, but as of now, that is the current plan. If you remember, though, there have been many Starships in the past that were also supposed to get those same features and never did, so we'll have to see what happens.
Was ITS supposed to fly in like 2017 or something like that? What was the plan there? I don't even remember at this point.
It was something like that.
It's something like that.
Mark 1 was supposed to get 3 Raptors, and it was going to fly at like 20 kilometers originally.
Gotcha.
Of course, it never even flew, but that's just the way it goes. SpaceX. Elon is very optimistic, and sometimes there are delays, but in the end, usually they do what they promise, just on a longer timeline than originally said.
Yeah, they eventually did, even if Elon's estimations are sometimes very optimistic, question mark. Does that sound about right? All right. So again, y'all, I know there's a lot of people that are just joining us. Want to make sure everybody's on the same page. We do not have an official time for the hop. Almost 10,000 people joining us already, and we cannot tell you, oh, it's 26 minutes. It's 92 minutes. We cannot tell you exactly how long it is before the hop. I am looking at the tank farm right now. This is Mary's live feed from Boca Chica Village, and looking at that tank farm, I can tell you, Michael, do you think it would be accurate if I said it is not going to hop in the next 30 minutes?
I would say that's very accurate. We will see the methane recondenser going before T-minus 30 minutes. And the methane recondenser is not venting right now. If you don't know where to look for the recondenser, there's those 3 black vertical water tanks just to the bottom left of SN6. And behind that is the methane recondenser that they use to reliquefy the methane as it warms up. So we will see that enabled as they begin the fueling operations, and right now we do not see that happening.
All right, I'm bringing up the telestration so we can draw on the screen and say what we'll be looking at. That's what I'm setting up now. So if you want to get a question or something like that, buy some time for me, Michael.
Let's see. Well, I can do more super chats, I guess. Gregory, thank you. Anyone knows how to hold downs on the stand operate? That's a great question. They have 6 hold downs around the perimeter of the vehicle. I believe they're directly in between the landing legs and the outer skirt. Because I think they have 6 parts of the thrust or the aft section that are strengthened to hold the weight of the vehicle. So they have the same area that's beefed up for landing legs also is where they attach the hold down points to. I'm not sure exactly how they work. I would guess they're some sort of pneumatic mechanism rather than explosive bolts, just knowing that Elon does not like explosive bolts, but I don't know exactly how it works. I've not seen any official details on that, so that's a good question. Then we have a 2 euros from RT Jokia saying Starship will never fly. Well, the joke's on you because the Starship has already flown. Dog, thank you for showing up again with SpaceX. Multi-hop in one session. Hop, land, hop again. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if Elon wanted to attempt something like that. Especially because they want to be able to turn around these vehicles for back-to-back launches very quickly. That seems like it might be a good way to validate that capability. Ben, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Texas Tank watching again. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate the support. Julio, 20 Canadian dollars. We would miss so much without you guys. Thanks a bunch. Thank you for the support. We wouldn't be able to do these streams without your support. It looks like DOS is now writing on our screen. Test.
Okay, the telestrator's online, so back to the live feed. There we go. All right. You know, I wasn't actually sure if I was on that other scene. Maybe I should look at that.
Well,
Mic check.
We've got 3 super chats from the same person, all saying Starship never flies. So we will accept the money, but I don't think your statement is correct. It has been proven wrong with SN5.
I mean, what I usually do is I just say, "Hey, thanks for the support," and I just don't show the message on the screen.
It's okay.
I mean, chat, I don't know. Do y'all think that that's a safe bet? Do you think that, given what you've seen, Starship will never fly is a safe bet? I don't know that I would bet on that, honestly. It may not fly by October, but technically, SNs have already flown. We've already seen hops. SN5 made it back to the mid-bay back there. So, anyways, I'll keep on going through some super chats here. Unordinary Programmer saying, "Hi guys, quick question regarding fuel. Does SpaceX produce the methane and oxygen, or do they buy it from a third-party source?" I am pretty sure that they're buying that from a third-party source. We see regular deliveries of methane trucks, like big methane tankers, and liquid oxygen tankers coming in and refilling those tanks there at Boca Chica. I don't believe SpaceX has diversified out into methane production yet. I know that a lot of people are keeping their eyes on that old gas well. There's a part of Boca Chica that used to be a gas well, and exactly what that well produced and whether or not it's going to even be able to produce anything in the future, I don't know, but I'm not sure that SpaceX has gotten into the business of producing their own fuel. Any information that proves me wrong there, Michael?
I think you answered it exactly how I would have.
Yeah, so that's a great question on Ordinary Programmer, but I don't think that SpaceX is in that business yet. In fact, if you recall, harken back to Elon's original ITS days, where he was talking about being the railroad. He was talking about being the transportation provider. He wasn't even worried about life support. What are they going to do when they get there? How are they going to live? What about radiation? He didn't care about any of that stuff. He only cared about being the train, being the railroad that actually provides transport there and back. And he said at one point that they would have to rely on partners to solve all of those other problems. So I don't think that it's too far from SpaceX. We know that SpaceX likes to build some things in-house, but on occasion they also outsource. I don't even know if outsource is the right terminology. They'll just buy existing products like methane and liquid oxygen instead of trying to build up their entire own infrastructure. Will that hold for when we have Starships landed on Mars? I don't know. Let's see what the future holds. But for now, they're buying that stuff commercially, I'm pretty sure. Enables $5 says, drinking coffee out of my NSF mug and wearing my Texas Tank Watcher shirt. Let's hope for a hop. Nice, Enables. I had my hoodie on, but it was a little bit warm here, so I took the Texas Tank Watcher's hoodie off. Thank you so much for the support. Todor Kirilov says, greetings from Plovdiv, Bulgaria. I do not know if I pronounced that correctly, but we appreciate you, Todor. Every morning, coffee starts with your daily clip. Keep up the good work. So many people say that. So many people say that they watch the daily videos, and when they sit down, they're drinking their morning coffee, and instead of reading the newspaper or whatever, they bring up the Boca Chica videos that Mary Films and Jack and Brady and some of our other talented editors edit literally every day. I mean, it's now a 24/7 operation getting those videos to y'all every day. So thank you so much for sharing those kind words there, Todor. We appreciate the support. Adam Newcother says, how excited is it to know that they have started the Super Heavy booster? You love Mary and the whole NASA spaceflight team. Thank you so much, Adam. We are keeping an eye out for any parts of those Super Heavy rings. We are almost positive that Super Heavy rings have been spotted, but we just haven't caught a label yet, because every now and then somebody leaves a Post-it note on them. It's conspicuously facing towards where Mary hangs out. So I don't know that we've seen that yet, but we will keep an eye out for those Super Heavy parts. Rough Rider Show said, just ordered my Texas Tank Watcher's hat. Yeehaw! Whoopsh, whoopsh. Rough Riders, we appreciate the Texas Tank Watcher hat purchase there. Tom Hatters actually says, what hop? I'm just here to watch the tanks. Hey, that's what it is. Even if the hop gets scrubbed, we still have a fantastic day watching the tanks here on the Texas Tank Watcher Show. Tom, appreciate the support. This is Thermos Pit God? The Mosh Pit God. Aha! Took me a second. Never been in a mosh pit myself. It's the Mosh Pit God. It's nothing to do with the thermos. Says Starship will fly with an exclamation point. Wouldn't that be sneaky? What if we put a poll on the screen and you could vote with your super chats? And super chats for Starship would go in one column, and super chats against Starship would go in another column. That's almost a little bit too. That's a little bit too sellout for my blood. We appreciate you, Mosh Pit God. Hey, Arts, thank you again for the support. We appreciate you showing up in the stream and doing the super chats, supporting the channel. Sandy AP does one as well, saying, love your stream, guys, and a special shout out to Mary. Want to buy something from your shop, but unable since we don't deliver to Singapore. I apologize for that, Sandy. I don't run the shop myself. I'll certainly leave a note with the powers that be to see if that is an option. Is that a chainsaw?
Mary says it's a weed trimmer.
It's one of those brush trimmers then. Okay. They're doing something out there. Jeez. But Sandy, I'll leave a message for the person in charge of the store and see what the deal is with shipping that far overseas. We appreciate you, though. Let's see here. Here is, let's hop back to a non-super chat question from the queue here. This one's from Tommy Vask again, saying, NASA Spaceflight, when you have the highlighter on at hand, could you point out the deluge system as well? Haven't been able to pin where it's at. I can do that right now. Look, if we go over to presentation mode, from this angle with the heat haze, it is really difficult to see the deluge system, but the deluge system activates underneath the launch mount here. And there's a couple nozzles underneath there. You'll actually see some water sort of spray in right before launch. From this angle, it's really difficult to see with the heat haze. The water sort of blends in with the heat haze in the background there, but that is where the deluge system is down on the bottom of the tank farm. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Josh, just to the bottom right of the 3 black tanks is the water pump for the deluge system.
That right there.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, there's a big pump-looking structure that has they look like high-flow lines in, and it must be pumping something around. We are pretty sure, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but these 3 tanks right here, we're pretty sure those are water tanks.
Yes, there's
So,
definitely water. One of them got fully punctured during the SN4 anomaly, and if it was anything but water, we would have known about it.
yeah, we actually saw, I think, this one leaking out the side of it like that
Yeah.
when it got hit by a piece of flying shrapnel from SN4. So that is a good, I guess, estimation that it's a water pump, some water tanks right there. Hop on back over to the live feed like that, and continue on. Good question, Tommy. Thank you so much for asking us that one. It sounds like a weed eater. Yeah, dangerous safety. It definitely is a weed eater. Banana Dodo, how you doing? Welcome over. Here is a question from the other side. iCrafter 2015 said, will the final version of Starship have a sensor array, like radar, LIDAR, camera, etc., because when Starship is out around Mars, they can't rely on Earth to see the space rocks in their path. So, iCrafter, I think that that's probably a pretty good guess. I think that when SpaceX actually starts to fly these Starships, they will have all the sensors and bits and bobs. Will they be doing their own collision avoidance? I imagine they would. How do the Mars rovers do it? Like when we're sending Mars 2020 and Percy en route to Mars, we have Earthbound radar that's trying to scan for things that may be in the path, and we've already sort of cleared that out because there's really not much out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. So.
Yeah. So I imagine they will kit out those Starships a lot more. That's really one of the big questions for me. Elon's original, I'm going to say, sort of pie in the sky estimation was 100 people on each Starship, and it never really has made sense to me. 100 people going all the way to Mars with all the life support and all the other things that they're going to need: storage for food, equipment, radiation shielding, water, all their life support gear. It seems like all those other things, including navigational gear and computers and radar arrays and stuff like that. Michael, how do you even think they could mount something like that on a Starship? Because normally,
well, I was going to say, I don't think, like, if we think about the nose cone, we've seen
Yeah.
them produce like the nose cones and there's like a couple rings below it. But if you could imagine 100 people living in that volume for 3 to 6 months, I don't think that's going to work. I think it's going to be more like 10 people. Maybe for a point-to-point flight that could work, but I don't see that working for a trip to Mars.
Yeah, I don't think that NASASpaceflight has one of these handy, but in a commercial jet. Think of an airliner, which Elon loves to harken back to airliners, right? The nose cone in a commercial jet is made of something that's radar transparent. So there's actually a big radar array mounted in the nose of a commercial jet, sort of down in front of the pilots past their feet. But on Starship, with full stainless steel construction, you couldn't do that same sort of thing. So I'm really curious how they would mount. I mean, certainly they'll have maybe little windows or something like that they can have radar facing through or something. I don't think that it would be able to see through the stainless steel. So maybe that's another thing that we'll look for on those nose cones as we march forward towards Starships that are actually flying to Mars. I'll have to read some chat on that one and see what other people think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, again, if you're joining us now, I'm going to bring down the weed whacker just a little bit there because we can definitely hear that brush. It sounds like a brush grade weed whacker there. But we are standing by. That is Starship SN6. It is an experimental prototype containing the fuel tankage and a single Raptor engine tucked up under the bottom of it there. And today, SpaceX is hoping to hop this to 150 meters. They've notified the relevant authorities. They've closed the road. They've cleared the pad. And currently, we're not exactly sure what they're waiting on, but we do not see any activity from the tank farm, which is the next what's the right terminology? The next thing that we would expect to see, indicating that they're pushing forward with that test timeline. Let's say it that way.
Yeah. And it looks like we have another person who's joined the channel.
Another person? Who else just... Who's allowed in here? A very small number of people actually have information here. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
Oh dear, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I figured I got home from Starlink and I saw that another thing named Star was going to try to do something in Texas today. So I thought, why not be on both?
And Chris, you've made it back home now, haven't you? You have like an hour drive north from the Cape.
Yes, I have made it home after I've made it home after Starship, so I am safely in my air conditioning now and away from the loud bugs.
All right. Folks, the other voice you're hearing us there, that is Chris Gebhardt, Assistant Managing Editor from NASASpaceflight. Just earlier this morning, he was live from Cape Canaveral. He brought us a NASA Spaceflight exclusive video feed of the Starlink launch, where they launched another 60 Starlink satellites. So SpaceX definitely busy here these days, aren't they, Chris?
Oh my gosh, that's an understatement. Because so it's September 3rd. We've had our first SpaceX launch of the month. There are at least 2 more Starlink missions planned for September, one from Pad 40, one from 39A. And then on the very last day of the month, there's the GPS-3 mission that's scheduled to go on a Falcon 9 from Pad 40 as well. And that does not include anything that Starship does. So I would say, yes, very, very busy.
And Chris, are you back at home? Do you have like an air conditioner or something going?
I am. We're back to our air conditioner problem.
we're getting a little bit of, it seems like, air conditioner noise. Are you dialing in from the phone or the computer, or?
I am dialing in from my computer. Give me 1 second to rearrange some things, and we'll see if we can make this better.
Yeah, hop into Discord and see
This
if
is,
that.
I think this is also because new computer and all of my Discord settings have not come over when I re-downloaded it, so that might be the problem too.
Yeah, I bet you.
I'm going to mute myself and go in and do the noise cancellation and everything.
Yeah, go in and turn on the noise cancellation and stuff like that. Let's see if, again, y'all, Chris Gebhardt lives down there in South Florida, and he's literally joining us from his office, which is also a sunroom on the side of the house. So it gets pretty warm in here. I'm not going to ask him to stream without an air conditioner. I imagine when he comes back, we're not going to hear the little bit of air conditioner noise that we were picking up there.
And
so,
how's that? Is that better?
Yep, that fixed it.
All right, perfect. Yep. All the settings you have to go back in and re-enable.
Yes. Well, thank you for looking into that.
But yes.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We hear you loud and clear. Chat, let us know. Chris Gebhardt, y'all should be able to hear him loud and clear now. So let's see here. I mean, we're getting some more. Jeez. Huh. A lot more super chats. I don't have any questions in the queue. Let me grab some questions here, Chris, and I'll toss some questions over for you to wax poetic about. How's that sound?
Oh, I think I can do that. That's something my teachers told me I could do very well.
That's why you're a writer, aren't you? Didn't you do like media and communications or something like that, right?
In professional life, yes, that's exactly what I did.
There you go.
Though. Yep.
So here's one. Would 3 hops give SpaceX the 3 Raptors needed for high altitude or orbital spaceflight? So do we think that they're reusing these Raptors and using the hops as almost like a dynamic, can I call it a dynamic fire? As opposed to a static fire?
So I know up until SN5, the Raptors were not reused. Do we know what Raptor is on this particular vehicle?
Yes, so it's Raptor SN29 on this vehicle.
Okay, and that one hasn't flown yet, has it?
No.
No,
Raptor
okay.
SN27 was the one that flew on Starship SN5.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so they haven't reused Raptors yet, although that's obviously something that they're going to need to do and prove. But I don't think, Michael, if I'm correct, I don't believe we have any indication from SpaceX that they necessarily plan to reuse the Raptors on these hop tests for higher hops, but it's possible, but not something that they've talked openly about yet.
Yeah, now that I think about this, I'm trying to remember. I believe, yes, Starhopper reused the engine. Starhopper used Raptor SN6 on the 18-meter hop and the 150-meter hop.
That's right. So a Raptor has been reused. Oh, man, gosh, Starhopper was only a year ago, and yet that seems like a lifetime ago. Already. But there's no specific thing that we know that they're planning to specifically reuse the Raptors from the Starship hops on a higher Starship hop orbital attempt. Would make sense if they wanted to, but we don't know that for sure yet.
Correct. And it remains to be seen which Raptor SN5 will use if it is to attempt another hop, which at the moment seems likely given that Elon tweeted they want to do lots of small hops, and SN8 is going to be, we believe, performing a much higher altitude hops. Presumably that would mean SN5 and 6 flying possibly multiple times.
There we go. And you know, even though reusability for the engines is a key element of this testing, it's not uncommon in the early test campaigns of reusability, or building toward reusability, I should say, to see those engines designed for reuse not necessarily be reused, because there's a lot of good hard engineering data that you can get by taking them apart after you actually fire them and use them, seeing how they perform, not just on the test stand, but also under flight conditions. So not surprising that we've only seen one reused so far.
Correct. Yep. And a couple of super chats. Thank you, Zulu, Dougal, William, Steven. Steven says, can we call this Jefferson Starship and name the test stand? Nothing can stop us now. Do you get that? Sean says, let's light this candle. Motivate and Chill says, is Elon clearing the grass for the hop? There is a weed whacker or weed eater out there. I don't think it's Elon, though. And then Elon should go into the grain silo business. That seems like a very similar type of construction, I guess. James Mills said, how will the crew disembark Starship once on Mars? I believe there's going to be a crane on the side of it that the cargo and the crew will be able to go down. But that's a good question. There is quite a distance between the cargo section of Starship and all those tanks. But and then a question from Aiden about Starhopper. Is Starhopper a weather station? I thought they might use it as a sea turtle deterrent. So yes, there are lights on it, red lights, that have been speculated to be used to keep the sea turtles away from the pad, because this is a sea turtle nesting area. But I don't know if we've got official confirmation on that. But the radar you can see spinning on top of Starhopper, if you look closely, that is not for weather, that is for boats. This is not an Air Force controlled range. This is a private range. And SpaceX is in charge of making sure everyone is safe. So that radar allows SpaceX to make sure there are no boats out at sea that are close to the launch pad. And then Jade's asking about the Electron update. Do you have any guesses of what Rocket Lab might be announcing today, Chris?
Oh boy, trying to guess with Rocket Lab is always really dangerous, because they're really a company that don't talk until they're ready to. But when they're ready to, my lord, there's usually not even a plan but bent metal behind it, whether it's a new launch site or something else. If I absolutely had to wager a guess, I would say we're either going to discover a new launch site for them today, or we are going to be introduced to potentially maybe Electron Heavy. I don't know. We'll really have to wait and see. They already announced like the upgraded version of Electron in its single stick configuration earlier, and I believe I remember Peter Beck saying someone making a joke about Electron Heavy, and there kind of being a wink, wink, nod, nod, like later. Yeah, it's coming later, but we'll really have to see. It really truly is it really is difficult to try to figure things out with Rocket Lab, just because of how they operate, which is not really secretive. They're not purposely keeping things, away from us because they don't want to tell us. They're just, when they're ready to talk, they're ready to talk, and there's usually some good things behind it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
do you have a guess, Michael? Yeah.
Oh, I think it's going to be a spacecraft-related announcement, just based on them recently acquiring a company that works on spacecraft-related hardware. I think it was in Tim Dodd's recent interview where Peter said that the name Rocket Lab was sort of a mistake because they want to do a lot more than just rockets. So I'm I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of spacecraft related announcement.
Maybe. Could it have something? Didn't I see something about Venus? There's some Venus mission that they're
Yes.
after too. So it could be that as well. Yeah,
They're going to do a privately funded mission to Venus, I think, which they have not announced the details of. So it could be that. The one thing that makes me think no is that a one-off mission kind of seems like, because the title of the live stream is the next chapter, so that to me seems like a more than one mission type of thing. So maybe it's like a platform they would use for that mission. I'm not sure, but it definitely seems like a more broad announcement from the title at least. We'll see what actually happens.
It does, and man, that title really doesn't give anything away either, because the next chapter of Rocket Lab, it could be spacecraft, it could be interplanetary missions, it could be a heavier lift version of Electron for heavier mass small sats. I mean, it really could be anything. So yeah, we'll really have to just wait and see.
Yeah, and even though Peter Beck said no Electron or no larger vehicles, he also said no reuse many times, and now they're doing reuse. So
exactly.
If they were doing a larger launch vehicle, and people asked him, I don't think he would show his cards. I think he would just keep denying it. So I think it's. I'm not sure if that would be my number one option, but I think it's not out of the question.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Let's see any other. Again, keep tagging us in chat at NASASpaceflight. We are continuing to look for questions. And still looking at the pad. I'm not seeing any venting.
So we're probably not in the next half hour, definitely.
No, probably not even in the next 50 minutes, which I'm glad because I actually have class in 20 minutes. So.
Oh no! How long's your class?
So technically it's a 3-hour class, but it never actually runs 3 hours. It's just however long the professor needs, basically. So I'm hoping it's going to be a short class, and I'm hoping that this hop is not going to happen in the next hour for my own personal selfishness. But of course for Mary, I hope this happens as soon as possible because she's out there in probably blazing heat right now. So I'm not going to wish for Mary to stay out there any longer than she has to, but if in an entirely selfish world, I would not mind the hop getting delayed past my class, of course.
Of course not. Who wouldn't? I remember making those wishes many times.
Did they change the number of Raptors on Super Heavy because of the thrust power they're getting from the Raptors? Yes. Elon recently tweeted they were simplifying the design to probably have 28 engines instead of 31, and he said that was possible due to the larger amount of thrust they think they're going to be able to get out of it. I think the plan is to have 2 variants of Raptor Sea Level. They will have the non-gimbaling version of Raptor Sea Level with more thrust, and then the gimbaling version of Raptor Sea Level, which can gimbal, but it will have slightly less thrust. So there's going to be a lot of different variants of Raptor. It'll have the 2 sea level versions and at least 1 vacuum optimized version.
And this pretty much this pretty much follows the development of the Merlin engine as well, that debuted at lower thrust levels to begin with, and then as the iterations and the engine design improved, you got more and more and more and more and more thrust out of all of them as the program continued. So not surprising that they're already anticipating a higher thrust rate out of the Raptor. I think what is a little bit surprising but surprising in a good way, is that might speak pretty well toward the overall progress of the development of this Methalox engine, because Methalox is very, very hard and very, very finicky, as we've seen primarily with Raptor. And we know Tori Bruno has alluded to the fact that there's an issue with the BE4, another Methalox engine that's being worked right now. These are huge, very, very powerful engines, and really the first of their class for what we're asking of them to do. So it is a little bit surprising this early on to hear about that level of confidence in a thrust upgrade, but it's good to hear because it is something that we'll need going forward, but also speaks to the maturity of the nascent design already.
Yeah, and both of the both the 150 meter hops, both Star Hoppers and SN5s. Both had minor issues with the Raptor, which is of course because it's a development engine, and like Chris was saying, these are both very complicated types. Both B4 and Raptor are very complicated engines, so I mean it's not unexpected for them to have issues during the development phase. Texas Tank Watchers, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate the support. They say all systems nominal on our live stream, so that's good to hear. And thank you, Bruce. Yes, super chats definitely help fund our data plans. We need lots of modems to run this stream. I think Mary has at least 4 hooked up right now, so that's definitely appreciated. Ed Brady, thank you for the membership. Vincent, more naming suggestions. How about Spacey McTestflight? Javier, y'all are awesome. I wish I could work with you guys. You have any need for a writer in the Denver, Colorado area? Well, I think if you go into the forums, there is a thread, right, Chris?
There is
if you're
indeed,
interested in
yes.
writing, you can just contact Chris B and he'll give you a trial assignment. So, NASASpaceflight forums.
Yes, NASASpaceflight forums, and send that jointly to both Chris Bergen and myself. Yes.
Well, only 16.5K people watching, so maybe I should have thought that more, but you might be getting some emails.
Well, live and learn.
We'll find out how many. Chris, thank you for the membership. Ovo, thank you for the super chat. Wow, we're getting so many super chats, as usual for Starship. Thank you everyone for the support. Let's see, any more questions? No, Mary is not chopping down the trees. That is a weed whacker on a adjacent person's property.
We're taking down the trees to get a better view, folks. Come on.
Although I think I think there was maybe some tree chopping going down, or tree trimming going down. If you notice, we have had some trees slightly in the shot on this property where Mary's filming from before, and I believe there might have been some trimming. So we do everything we can to make these streams as good as possible, and the NASA spaceflight team down in Boca certainly puts in a lot of effort. So we really appreciate everyone's help to make this happen. Let's see. Why is there frost when there's a static fire? I think you're referring to the condensation we see on the vehicle. That's because liquid oxygen and liquid methane are very cold. Just like when you put ice in your water, you get the condensation on the outside. It's the same type of thing happening with the Starship vehicle.
Indeed.
And again, if you're just joining us, we do not know when this is going to hop. Not in the next 40 to 50 minutes, we can say that for sure, because we're not seeing any tank farm activity. That's the next sign we're looking for, but this is a fluid test campaign, and SpaceX does not put out official information as to the target T0. In a rare case, Elon does occasionally tweet what T-minus time they're at. But even then, there can be holds after Elon's tweet, so it's really hard to know exactly when the T0 is.
But based on sort of what we're seeing here in the visuals, we're kind of okay to say definitely not within the next 30 minutes, and probably not earlier than an hour from now at the utmost earliest.
Yeah, correct. We can give a no earlier than of between 30 to 50 minutes. But we cannot give you a no later than, of course, because this is how rockets work.
Yes. Hey, at least. Hey, and sometimes they abort really close to liftoff. That's always fun too. Which we've had a few. Which we've had a few of those this year so far, which has been interesting.
Yes. Jack, do we have comms with you?
What up? Can you hear me?
Dude,
yes, we can.
Who let that guy in? I'm back. I'm back too, by the way. How's it going, Jack?
I was like, how much your voice has changed.
Just popping in really quick to say hey while I can. We're out on the boat. I'm with Space Padre, Gene and Rachel. Everybody go follow Space Padre Isle. They're awesome. I can't believe they were able to accommodate us again today. But we're out on the boat. We're super close. We're outside the exclusion zone, and we are ready to see this thing hop. Hopefully it hops. Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I don't know how great my signal is out here, but yeah, after the previous scrub, we got some nature. We went out and went to a couple different parks and stuff, drove around a little bit, and then decided to head back to Boca Chica. So we're back. We're here in Boca Chica. I've got my camera. We'll be shooting alongside Gene and Rachel, and I'm so excited. Sorry for derailing whatever you guys were talking about, but I figured I'd pop in while I still had a moment before things get too real here.
Good luck with all your photos, Jack.
Is it windy out there, or how is it hot, or how is it today, Jack?
It's extremely hot. Luckily, we're on the water, so you can dip in a little bit and cool off. But yeah, it's extremely hot. The wind picked up a little bit earlier, but I don't even want to say I don't even want to comment on what it is right now. But
oh yeah, Jack, we just got activity on the tank farm. It looks like the methane recondenser has fired up.
Okay, so it is getting real. Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the self-control to stay on the live stream. I think I'm going to start getting my camera set up, but I'll keep my earpiece in for a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away. The wind isn't too bad right now. Knock on wood.
I did a little happy dance in my desk chair when we saw the methane condenser come online. So yeah, I've danced. So hopefully the weather gods were not offended by the dance.
Well, that means they've entered the countdown sequence for the hop. Again, we usually see this happen about 40 to 50 minutes or so beforehand. So I think maybe closer to 50 minutes. So that's kind of the timeline we're looking at now for the hop.
So that would be 1:50. So that would be 13:50 Eastern time here in the United States. 17:50 UTC.
Yeah, and we don't know if there might
earliest. Yeah.
There might be a hold or built-in hold, right. Or we obviously don't know what the whole flow is like. So, I mean, but who knows? I mean, anytime around there, we'll start listening for a siren, obviously. Unfortunately, from our location, where we are at, we can't hear the siren. So that's going to be all you guys on Siren Watch 2020.
Siren Watch 2020, nice.
Good. Love it.
All right, it looks like whenever I switch to presentation mode, I'm getting a little bit of chop in the feed, so I'm closing down all my math. I was doing math earlier. It's dangerous, but I think we're good to go now.
Fantastic.
Hopefully there will be less chop whenever I switch back.
Well, this is fun. This is good.
Yeah.
I love these tests. They're just so like they're just so wonderfully they're wonderfully pure to me. Like it's the raw purity of test campaigns that I love, where it's like maybe not, maybe this, but we're seeing that vent, so maybe 50 minutes.
I hope so. Yeah.
That's the best part about all of this, and that's why I love it and why I take pains to come out here for these things, is because it's really fun to see a rocket launch, and there's really nothing like it. But similarly, there's really nothing like these tests. A test campaign is so different than a launch with a paying customer, and it's exciting and on a completely different level. I mean, there's times where Falcon 9s launch or different rockets launch, and it's a certain first time that booster has flown a certain number of times, or the first time that booster has landed a certain number of times. So there are exciting things with paying customer launches, but these test campaigns, that's the spice of life.
I think I hear Starbuck going off in the background there.
That's exactly right. The street cleaner is coming by the house, and she did not approve its work permit for the front yard, so she's letting it know that it's disapproved. And that's actually a great segue. I need to go off comms for just a couple of minutes, but I'll be right back.
Sure, we gotcha. Hey, really quickly, over on my side, I got to give it a shout out to Thundergar. Thundergar did a resub to my Twitch channel, and Thundergar has been subbed to my channel for 53 months. I've been doing this for a long time, y'all. Tier 3 sub, Thundergar, thank you so much for all the support. I know it's been a little bit of difference in changing. I haven't been doing as many virtual field trips lately with the COVID stuff, and I've been really sort of helping out NASA Spaceflight a lot here. So thank you so much for the continued support over on my Twitch side. I really, really do appreciate it. You said the absolute longest running sub you have. So thank you so much for those. I don't know who let P Eater P through the stream here either, but Peter, what's up, buddy? How are you doing over there? I'll run through some other chats as well. Durai here says, wasn't it the initial 100 people estimate for the 12-meter ITS? Would it make sense for that size? I guess even then it was a stretch. Maybe so, Durai. I mean, I'm sort of waiting for Elon to give us his new interior design. I really hope Elon doesn't pull a Virgin Galactic and be like, oh, interior reveal, and then give us a render. Like, I want to see the inside of a nose cone for real when they say that they're giving us what the inside of the nose cone looks like. Appreciate the support there. Anansul? I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but Yellow Lancer and I just wanted to show support. Keep up the great work. Hi, Chris, with some exclamation points after it. Anansul, thank you so much for the support there. $20, nothing to sneeze at. Anti, this is actually anti-art. Nice. Who needs a grain silo with a rocket engine? Nice, anti-art. We appreciate you. Robert Orthman says, good morning, everybody. Thank you. Good morning to you as well, Robert. Dan Ketchum asks, will SpaceX own all the Starships or will they sell some for others to operate? That is a great question I've never heard anybody talk about. I don't think I've ever heard of SpaceX selling Starships to anyone else. Stand by with a feed there. Let me do a health check on the modems very quick. But I don't think I've ever heard of that before, them selling them off. I think that their intention is just to operate them themselves. So maybe once they get going, I don't know if they're going to license them or anything like that, but we'll definitely see.
That would be nuts if SpaceX became like the Boeing of spacefaring vehicles. I mean, that's a weird thing to say because Boeing makes spacefaring vehicles, like the X-37B. But yeah, you know what I mean? It'd be cool if Starships became the same thing as a commercial airliner, and you know, there's American Starlines or whatever buying Starships from SpaceX, and SpaceX is just a manufacturer, not necessarily an operator. That'd be nifty. I don't know that would ever happen, but it would sure be nifty.
North American Starlines. Nice. I like it. Instead of American Airlines, it's American Starlines.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So Dan Ketchum, I think that'll be interesting to see. I think the first thing is they need to get these things into orbit, and I imagine Elon may keep control of those, but there's one way to find out. Starship, of course, a little bit more complicated than an airliner, so it takes special equipment, special facilities to launch, et cetera, et cetera. Who knows? We'll see, though. Thank you for the support. Unordinary Programmer says, thanks for answering your question earlier. This one is a tip for Mary so she can have a proper cup of coffee. Nice. Best regards from Croatia. Thank you so much, Unordinary Programmer. We appreciate the support, and we definitely will make sure that Mary is well caffeinated for some of these early morning events that occur. Here's another one from Bill, $20 saying, more of my precious beer money. Nice, Bill. Had to do a BWRUN beer run with the beer money there. Thank you so much for the $20. Hans Cedric, thank you as well. Opinions on astronomers hating on Starlink. That's one of those things that's, I don't know the right answer. I'm not an astronomer. I am also, let's use the term privileged enough to live in a place where I have easy access to internet, all sorts of different ways. I see both sides of that argument. I see, wow, that's a lot of satellites to be up there, even if they are sun shaded or not visible or darkened, they're still going to emit
just breaking in real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just break in real quick. I can't not hold my camera anymore, so I'm gonna leave. You guys be excellent to each other. I love you all. Enjoy the hop. Bye.
All right, go ahead, Jack. Good luck. Happy hunting. But I understand both sides on that, Hans. I certainly do appreciate that the existence of Starlink will affect our ability to look at the night sky and change it in ways that we've never seen before, unprecedented ways. I also hear that hopefully it gets some internet access to some places that don't have it yet. I think the biggest risk that SpaceX has there is if they release these Starlink plans and they're not something that are affordable to all of these underserved communities that Elon has sort of touted, oh, Starlink will bring equity and internet access to the rest of the world. And then all of a sudden, Starlink is $500 per month and $2,000 for the equipment. I think that that's his biggest, not political, but just sort of public risk, I guess you could say. It'll be interesting to see what the cost for those plans and equipment are. But if he is truly bringing Starlink access to rural, underserved communities that currently don't have internet access all over the world, if he doesn't do that, I think that that's going to change a lot of people's opinions. But no way to know right now. We'll just see what happens. And thank you for the support. Nick, Nick doesn't like the way the chatbot is. We appreciate you though, Nick. Mark James Gillivray, I'm going to go with. Thank you for the support. Jeremy Ragor, how's the wind today? Wind's looking pretty good. You can see from the venting from the farm that there is a little bit of wind. So what we want is enough wind to keep Mary nice and cool, but not so much wind that it shakes the cameras or aborts the hop. So we're looking for sort of like the Goldilocks of wind here. Some, but not too much. Thank you for the super chat there. Here's another one from Greg Scott saying, great job, Michael, Doss, Mary, and Chris. Great coverage. We appreciate the job you do. Thank you for the kind words, Greg. And there are quite a few more super chats in here, but for now, I am going to spool those down as we continue to watch the tank farm. That is definitely tank farm activity. That started, I'd say that started somewhere right before noon. So if we had to guess, in the past, it's at least, Michael said, 40 to 50 minutes before we actually start to see a hop. So maybe, just maybe, you know, I guess physics willing and the creek don't rise, we're under an hour away from a potential hop if everything continues going according to SpaceX's plan. Again, thank you all so much for joining us here at NASA Spaceflight. I'm going to take just a quick breather as we look at a technical issue, and we will be right back with the live commentary. I mean, I guess I could like talk about what I'm doing. One of our modems is causing a hiccup right now, and I have to send some remote commands to the broadcast encoder telling it to basically jiggle the handle on this modem that's not happy. We're at 3 of 4 modems right now. Our total bit rate is nominal. We're pushing 9,000 kilobits, but I've got one modem that is misbehaving, and I need to jiggle the handle. I'm not even kidding. That's what I'm doing, jiggling the handle. Yes, it is Texas handle jigglers today. Keep it classy, chat. We were trying to get this other modem back online. I will tell you that the care and feedings of these modems is the most frustrating part of live streaming. It is so hard to get these modems, especially out on the edge of signal, to be nice and stable. And it is a daily fight to try and keep these things happy. So I think I'm back to where I feel nominal again. So we'll go ahead and let those ride. Whoa, while I was jiggling the handle, look at that. Parika Dujmovic, I'm going to go with BAM 50. Is BAM the type of currency? Hang on a second. Let me do 50 BAM to USD. What is a BAM? It's a Bosnia-Herzegovina convertible mark. Is called a BAM? B-A-M? I have not seen that one before. I have never seen the BAM, but we appreciate, Parika, the 50 BAMs. It's like an emerald sort of currency. For fuel, thank you so much for the support there. Good times. At first I thought you typed in BAM as the message, and I was like, you typed in BAM, like, okay, BAM. I didn't even realize at first that it was in the column of the interface that was the currency type. So we do not want the rocket to go BAM. We do not want the rocket to go bam. It's like $30 US, y'all. It's not 3 cents. It's like $30. BAM. People bam. Nice. All right, folks. Again, we are standing by. That is Starship SN6. That is a SpaceX Starship prototype. It is the tankage and a Raptor engine, a LOX tank, a liquid methane tank containing those cryogenic fuels that they use to propel the rocket. It has that Raptor engine underneath the bottom of it. You can't see it. It's tucked up under the skirt. Let me show you really quickly. From the side here, if you look at this, the Raptor engine is actually up like this. So that's about where the Raptor engine is, and you get this sort of bulkhead like that. You can actually see the curved bulkhead on the top. I forget, I think this bulkhead goes down. If I'm not mistaken, I think that bulkhead goes down. I don't think it goes up. But that's sort of the internals of the tank there. And remember, this is supposed to have a super heavy booster underneath it. That's why that Raptor engine can't stick out from the bottom like that, because it needs to have a super heavy booster underneath. So that is what we are looking at. Starship SN6, we're starting to see that tank farm activity and a little bit of wind picking up. You can see it kicking the camera around a little bit there as we stand by for this hop. Again, we do not have the exact timing of the hop, but we will let you know if we see any other indications that it's going to be hopping. Stand by there, folks. We've got a little bit of a video hiccup we're working with here. It looks like we may have just lost that remote camera feed. Stand by. We will work on troubleshooting that and get right back to you. Let's hop back over here really quickly while we troubleshoot that. And y'all, we're working on recovering the video feed there. This is why we look at the issues. It looks like I am getting a feed now. We just have to get the server to realize that we have a feed. So we'll continue to work on this. And we are continuing to jiggle the handle on this, trying to get that feedback. We may have to do a complete restart of the broadcast encoder out there. Thank y'all for standing by. We are working on the issue. We've got a little bit of a loss of signal out from Boca Chica. So just please stand by, y'all.
Hey, Das, just real quick, if it's helpful, I can continue to take questions if I see them scrolling through chat while we're down, if that helps. Okay, cool. Cool. So yes, everyone, well, we worked the technical issue out in Boca Chica with the equipment. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them up into chat for us and tag at NASASpaceflight in that so that I can see it very quickly. Again, if you've got any questions about Starship testing, SpaceX, anything space related, go ahead and put that up there and just tag at NASASpaceflight in it so that it's easier for me to see as I scroll on through. So yes, so we are currently awaiting what we believe to be the upcoming hop attempt for Starship SN6. This will be a 150-meter rise up into the air for Starship under the power of a single Raptor engine. There's my dog again. But yes, we are a 150-meter ascent of Starship under a single Raptor engine. That Raptor will then gimbal, and Starship will translate over to its landing site, and then all of its legs will deploy and come down, hopefully to a nice upright rest like we saw SN5 about a month ago. So that is what we are standing by for. We believe at absolute earliest this could come around anywhere between about 30 minutes from now. Again, it's really hard to say with any degree of certainty because there could be unplanned holds. But right now, we believe we're about at the earliest 30 minutes away from a possible hop attempt. Could be longer. But that's where we're at right now. John wanting to know, will SN8 have a nose cone? We do believe that SN8 will be the first one that has the nose cone on it for the higher hop and flight test program. So we are expecting that SN8 will be the first one that we see with a nose cone that takes flight. Oh, and my chat just jumped on me. Yes. Okay, perfect.
There we go. All right.
Hey, this is what comes in handy when your teachers tell you that you need to learn to stop talking. On the contrary, I can fill a lot of dead air time by just rambling.
Yeah, we got it here. There we go. It looks like we had one of the modems completely go offline, and then the solo required, the encoder required a restart right there. But we'd get it back. This is really why we're working on getting more than one feed. So we are back with this feed now.
And you know, just to remind everyone, I know we said this a bunch of times on our previous feed of the SN6 attempts when other people, you know, like Tim Dodd were having issues with their stream. Streaming from Boca Chica is very hard. It is not like Canaveral where there are cell towers everywhere for you to ping off of, and the heat out there is far more oppressive than it is in Florida. It's a very challenging environment. So thank you all for sticking with us as we work that particular issue there.
Yeah. Again, it is pretty rough out there, but we'll work to maintain this live feed here. We just had to restart a piece of equipment. I guess we were joking about jiggling the handle too much, and it came back to bite us, huh?
Well, you know, it always has to give us some little moment for heart attack.
Yeah, no kidding. But Chris,
Right.
thank you for helping cover there. Sometimes when I'm troubleshooting this stuff fast and furious, I can't always talk in real time, or at least I shouldn't say everything that I'm thinking out loud because it wouldn't be appropriate. But
Oh, whatever do you mean? Not saying what's on your mind during a live broadcast.
Exactly. But the care and feeding of those modems is definitely difficult, that's for sure. All right, so we continue to see the tank farm in full operation. It looks like I'm not seeing anything coming from the vehicle yet. I don't see any condensation coming down. I don't see any venting coming from the back side of it, but we'll certainly see what happens there. Let's continue to watch. That is definitely a lot of activity at the tank farm, though, that's for sure. All right. Again, y'all, we don't know exactly what time the hop is going to occur, but oh, right there, Chris. There it is.
What?
Venting from the side of the vehicle.
Down.
No, it's not hopping, no.
It's like about ready.
It's not hopping right now, but we are getting venting from the side of the video, or from the side of the vehicle, actually.
So doesn't that mean they're like 15 minutes out? Isn't that about roughly like 15-20 minutes? Isn't that roughly what we get if everything remains on track with no holds, right?
I believe so. Something like that. 15-20 minutes. I mean, we'll see, because they could have holds, but we will definitely see what the deal is.
And again, you know, we're going to say this a lot. You know, it's when we say about 20 minutes away, it really focus on that about.
Yeah.
Because there could be unplanned holds. You know, one of the things that we use to try to gauge where we are in the countdown are these visual cues of when the rocket is venting from different places on it. And I mean, major shout out to Jack, because Jack is the one who really like watched that and dialed all of that in by just keeping an amazing amount of notes of every single time they did things. And then Michael added to it. Das, I know you added to it. Mary has added to that as well of all the different observations. So this is sort of like the NSF team collective. We think this is what it means timeline-wise. But of course, they could have unplanned hopes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens here. That's for sure. We never know, but it's always fun to watch.
That's very true. So true.
All right. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Go back to that. Ay. I'm tightening up one configuration thing on my end here, Chris.
Gotcha.
Saturated.
So, yes. So here, you're all going to hear my train of thought now. Yes. So a question here about how long will the hop last? It's a great question. A few seconds if everything goes well. It takes, what would you say, Das? About 30 seconds for the entire, like from liftoff to touchdown, about 30-ish seconds or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's short. It's short.
Yeah. It's not going to be like, and we're off for a Saturday drive.
Look at all that. Look at all that venting from the vehicle, Chris. It is going fast and furious now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So a good question here. What is the difference between SN5 and SN6? Virtually nothing from what we really understand. SN5 and SN6 were built the same way. They were not built with the new aluminum that started with SN7 and the test tanks that they built with that, and SN8 will be the first one of that new configuration. We pretty much believe this is more or less SN5, just with a few minor improvements here or there from lessons learned. But in the grand scheme of things, not a huge change from SN5. So the fact that they're redoing the hop with SN6 to grab more data, and as we discussed earlier, always the possibility that if SN6 hops successfully today, that they could just go put it back on the launch mount and try again with it. So we'll have to see exactly what the test campaign is, but we don't believe there's a significant difference between SN5 and SN6.
Yeah. And Chris, judging from the amount of venting coming from the vehicle there, that lower vent on SN6, we may be pretty close to a siren occurring. Not sure. We don't know for sure.
We might, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn up the ambient just a little bit so we don't miss that.
That is pretty close to the sustained vent that we would see from that lower left area there, right as we're headed toward a siren.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a good sign we like to see. What we don't want to see are the top vents. We don't want to see any sustained activity from the two top vents, indicating that they were depressurizing the vehicle. But we will see. Let's see if we get that siren here shortly. Chat, I've turned up the ambient. Let me know if the ambient is too loud or not. We're still more than 10 minutes away because we have not heard the siren yet, but we don't want to miss that siren. I'll crank up the volume as soon as we hear it.
So yes, so the next major thing that we're waiting for here is that that siren that Mary will alert us to, and that we will hear as well as the sheriff's deputy goes through warning the residents of Boca Chica Village to prepare for potentially a loud sound as SpaceX is testing. So that loud sound will hopefully be the ignition of the Raptor and the liftoff of Starship here on its test, but that's the next major thing that we are waiting for here. If all this goes, my dog is very, very talkative today. She's just ruing at us now.
Nice. So, some people asking about the wind. You can definitely see there is some wind out there. I mean, that venting is not falling straight down like we saw with Falcon 9 at the Cape today. There was no wind at the Cape, in that the vapors were just falling straight down off the side of the rocket. It looked like a waterfall. This is a completely different situation. You can really see that wind picking up the vapors and blowing them off to the side there. So we'll see. I don't know what the wind constraints are for Starship. Certainly it can launch in some wind, but certainly there are some winds that are gusts or shear or whatever they want to call it that's too high. And we'll see if we get a siren here in just a couple minutes. I'm listening in, Chris.
All right, cool. Yeah, because that's going to be our big thing now. Even if a siren goes off, it's not necessarily an indication that the hop will occur. We have seen several other things occur after that siren, including detanking and aborting. Of the vehicle, we have seen the Raptor engine begin to ignite and shut down on the pad. And one thing to remember, because SpaceX, when we watch them launch Falcon 9s and Falcon Heavies, they make it look effortless. And it's all that testing behind it that makes it look effortless. So this testing that you're seeing today, even if it doesn't result in a hop, will still provide valuable data towards Starship's overall development.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like, I have to retrain myself too in these moments, because I'm so used to, oh, okay, they're in the countdown. Like, the weather's fine, we're going.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and you really can't think that way with Starship. When SN5 hopped, for the first time, I had Kristen come in. I was like, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this. And we were watching her stream and everything. And when it actually lifted off, I screamed, oh, launched, scared her, scared the dogs, like, just like, I was like a kid in the candy store when this thing took off, because I was like, oh my god, actually, it's a test. Like, you know, you're always tempering your expectation of what's going to happen during test campaigns.
You're gonna make it so the dog thinks the rocket is hurting you or something, and they're gonna start barking every time they see a rocket. They're like, because they think the rocket attacks you.
That might actually happen after the Falcon 9 launch this morning, which was so loud because of the humidity and the non-existent wind, that the rattling of the house an hour north in Volusia County scared the dog this morning. And you know how many we have launch out of Florida, and they never do before. So it's been intense. It's been an intense day all around.
Again, we're listening for that siren. Oh, we've got a little bit of venting from the top. Do you see they're up at the top?
I do. Is that a different?
It's a different vent. We've seen that one before.
That's a different vent. So that's not bad, right?
That's not the depressurization vent. The depressurization vent sort of comes straight at us from the center line of the rocket. That's a different vent. So I'm not going to say that that's a bad vent right there.
Okay.
That seems to be nominal given our past experiences, but I'm listening. They need to stop backing up those work trucks so that we can hear the siren. Every time I hear a beep, beep, I think it's the siren.
I know they've got us trained, right? It's like we're like Pavlov's dog now with this siren at Boca Chica, right?
Oh, hey, there it is! There it is, Chris!
There it is! Siren?
Siren!
Siren!
That was the siren. Yep.
I don't hear it yet.
Do you have the server preview muted in Discord?
I do, yes.
Yeah, unmuted. Right? Yeah. That's okay. I'll yell at you and tell you the siren. Chat, you can hear in the background noise right now the 10-minute lap around Boca Chica Village. You can hear that police siren going off. That's the Cameron County Sheriff there doing a lap around the village, telling the residents that we are less than 10 minutes away from a potential event here at Boca Chica. They do that to warn the residents to get out of their houses. They do not want them to stay inside just in case there's some sort of anomaly. There may be what they call an overpressure event. It may break their windows. Basically, if it explodes, it may break their windows and shower them with glass if they're inside their houses. So less than 10 houses, public houses, I guess, public people remaining in houses there at Boca Chica, but they are warning them that we are less than 10 minutes away from a potential hop. I'm going to check back in with the studio here because we need to go to the wide shot. We do have the siren. Go to wide shot. All right. And we should get a very brief hiccup in the signal as Mary switches over to the live feed of the wider shot that we can use to see the entire hop here. There we got a little bit of a freeze. That's anticipated. Stand by for AOS from the wide camera. And we've got some serious video artifacts there. That is very curious that it seems to still have both pictures. Psychedelic, though.
That is kind of psychedelic.
Yeah. We did not get a clean handover there. I will make sure Mary knows that we need to get that unplugged and replugged again. It almost looks like the Predator.
Kind of does, right?
Is watching that. That is a switching over the cameras and did not get a clean feed there, but we will get a clean feedback. Just stand by.
It looks like it looks like the one in those lost footage movies, like the last piece of footage recovered from the camera.
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit there, but yes, if everything is still on track, we are roughly right now about 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes away from the anticipated hop. The siren went off at 12:37 p.m. Central Time, so that should lead us to a hop, again, if everything continues to go well, at 12:47 p.m. CDT. So when that clock on your screen there says 12:47 p.m. CDT, that's when we would anticipate a hop. That would be 1:47 p.m. Eastern or 17:47 UTC. And again, about 6 minutes away from that. Right this second, and again, they're working on getting the handover to the wide.
Yep, we're
camera
back, Chris.
Angle. Oh, and we're back. Okay.
Yep, we got it. We got it.
There it is. I see it. I see it on the preview. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry
so
about that.
Just a second, that'll pop up on your screen. No, not at all, Das. Not at all. Yeah, I just figured I'd keep going.
You can imagine that when something like that happens at T-10 minutes, it becomes go time. Like.
Yes, it does. But there we go.
No time to chat. No time to chat with you. Sorry, we got to fix this. But we are back. That is live from Boca Chica. That is the wide camera, and that should be doing the hop. Mary doing the final preparation. Again, Mary's running 3 different cameras to record the hop here, and we are working on, I believe that's a focus issue. Still just over 5 minutes away from the potential hop here, though, so we will get all this dialed in.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, the the wonders of live streaming, isn't it?
Oh boy.
I mean, Chris, there will come a time. There will come a time when we have a feed that drops at the exact wrong moment, and the only thing we can do there is just get more feeds. Like, I just want like 5 feeds, please. So if one drops, it's just switch to the other one quickly. But there will come a time where something like that happens. Hopefully, it's not today, is what I have to say.
Hopefully not. So Das, a question here as we drop down below the 5-minute mark now, 4.5 minutes here, per when the siren happened. What should we expect visually from the vehicle? Like, will that big vent stop at a certain point? Is that our visual cue that we're getting close to engine ignition?
We should see that big vent on the side of the vehicle slow down or stop whenever it's time. Also, we should see a pretty good amount of condensation coming from the bottom of the vehicle. I don't know with the heat haze today and the zoomed out camera angle, whether or not we'll be able to see the sound suppression, the water spray down at the bottom. We'll have to see on that. I'm checking the framing real quick, Chris, to make sure that we're going to get the whole hop. You know, I don't know if you saw my tweet where we stacked it up.
I saw that tweet, yes.
That's what I'm frantically doing right now to make sure that this camera, it looks like it might have gotten jostled just a bit.
What is it? Is it 7? Is it 7 starships? Or
it should be less than 6. It should be less than 6 starships.
Okay, less than
top
6
to bottom. Because Starship's about 30 meters, and it should be 150 meters to the middle of the vehicle, so 30 times 5 would get you there.
So if using my fingers is any indication, we might be good.
Yeah, I think we are. I am very close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty close.
And there's our counter counting down to the T-minus time, so you can see about, at the earliest, 2 minutes, 13 seconds here to go, but could be a little bit longer than that. That siren seemed to come at the cusp of 36, 37.
Right.
There on the minute scale, so it could be, it could be anywhere from a minute 50 to like a minute 30 right now, in that range. So we'll just keep on it. So if that clock reaches 0 and nothing happens, don't panic. This is a 10-minute estimation, basically, based on that siren.
Good deal. And I got the framing. The framing looks good out there, so we should be able to see the entire hop. Again, y'all, that's Starship SN6. We are well less than 10 minutes away from a hop, maybe approaching about 1 minute from the hop. We don't know if they'll abort. We don't know if they'll go ahead, but everything seems to be progressing towards this 150-meter hop of Starship SN6. That single Raptor engine, hopefully pushing the SN6, the tank, all that stainless steel, up to the top of a 150-meter flight, landing just a little bit to the right and a little bit further away from the camera here. That concrete landing pad is over there as well. But this is NASASpaceflight, and I am going to say that if they're going to go, we should be less than 60 seconds now. So it's time to get your ears on and watch this thing.
Yeah, and that
doesn't make any sense.
Audio, right, Das? Good ambient audio for this?
We do. I'm actually going to turn it up a little bit and see if we can't get that hop. Camera's nice and in focus. Everything looks good. I was going to say the modems are good, but I'm not going to talk about them because they can hear you. So we don't talk about the fact that the modems are good at T-minus whatever. Again, it's not an exact count from that siren. So it's probably not going to go at exactly 0.
No, if it did, that would be...
That'd be crazy. Yeah. But it could go anytime. Keep your eyes on that rocket. I'm going to burn a hole in my monitor staring at the bottom pixels on that thing. Still a lot of venting going. Bugs flying in front of the camera. I'm staring it down, Chris. Looks like we got a little bit of a bottom vent there. I see a new small plume at the bottom center of the rocket. I'm not seeing the top plumes. I think we've got some hats of some SpaceXers down there at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. They haven't given up watching. If those are hats, they look like the back of baseball hats to me. There it is! We've got some sort of ignition. And it's a hop!
Lifted, it lifted. Look at it go, look at it go.
Come on, SN6!
Oh my gosh!
That is 2 successful hops. We have a successful hop. I call it 3 successful hops if you want to call Star Hopper. Star Hopper did a hop just over a year ago. SN5 did a hop, a month and a half ago, something like that. And SN6 has now successfully completed a hop. We still see some venting from the vehicle there. Down at the bottom, I believe that's just regular venting, if I'm not mistaken. But that thing went up.
Yeah, hang on. I need to switch back over.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. I'm speechless. I'm just smiling and laughing. I don't know what else to do. I really don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was outright amazing.
All right, and I can hear all sorts of venting right now. I can definitely hear all sorts of venting. My question is, do we try to go for the zoom, or do we leave it on the wide shot? Oh, I don't want to get greedy, but I don't want to have an issue with the camera if something happens. Chat, what do y'all think? I'm curious what chat thinks. Should we switch back to the close-in camera and see what's happening, or should we leave it out here wide? No matter what, we're recording locally. Everybody wants the zoom. Everybody in chat is screaming for the zoom right now. I'm going to make sure Mary's okay with that. Let me just see if that's something that she would be comfortable doing. Ooh.
Well, that... wow. I'm still kind of speechless. Das, that hovered.
Yeah.
Is my imagination, or did that hover longer than the other one?
It seems like it did have a little bit of a hover there. We will see what the deal is. I'm seeing if I can't get us that zoomed in shot right now. We'll see. It is, Chris, it looks like it is significantly leaning to the left. I think the camera might be leaning to the right just a hair, and the other towers, you can see they're leaning, but Starship SN6 is leaning to the left a little bit. So I'm trying to see if Mary is comfortable with the zoom. Y'all, Mary has all sorts of different things going on. This looks like she's doing a swap back over. Let's hope for a clean swap here and get that zoomed back in. Stand by. Listening in. We'll go ahead and go to loss of signal. And again, Mary is swapping back into the zoomed camera. Before this one, we did not have a chance to get an automated switcher or anything like that out there. But there you go. Look, folks, we're back. We are back.
Look at that. Again, just all I can do is smile and laugh. I really don't know what else to do. This is so amazing.
There is the zoomed in shot. We're going to see if we can pan to the right just a hair here, but that is what we were looking for. That is exactly what we were looking for. You see those 2 top vents, it actually rolled a little bit, but those 2 top vents, that is a depressurizing of the rocket. It is depressurizing. I'm going to say it, Chris. It does have a significant lean. I think it's leaning a little bit more than SN5.
It may be. I mean, it might be, but I remember when SN5 touched down, the first thing I thought was, oh, it's leaning.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think that might be a little bit more than the other one, but here's the thing with distance and haze. This can play tricks on you, right? Because if you just look at Starship, it looks like it's significantly leaning, but then if you look at that tower right in front of us...
Yeah, that thing always
really
leans.
Look like it's leaning all that much.
I don't think you can really look at that tower that's in the way. I think that thing always leans.
Well, it might. I mean, we can also look at the test stand right next to it, dude.
Oh, you know what we could do? Hang on, I got a thing. Hang on a second. I have a Starship tilt indicator that I can put on the screen.
Ah, there we go. Starship
And-
tilt indicator. Ah, yes, the black
Yes.
bar, yes.
If I can get it to where I can move the Starship tilt indicator over just a bit, I mean, it's got a pretty good amount of lean to it there. Of course, that's just a line that I put in OBS so that we can see if it's, normally we frame the shots with this thing to make sure that they're straight, but it is leaning a little bit to the left.
Yeah,
That's for sure, yeah.
It really is.
We're super high tech here at NASA Spaceflight. It's like all these broadcast units and modems, and then, I don't know, is it leaning? Yeah, it's leaning a little bit. Okay, good.
So this is one of these. So the story, I believe, is apocryphal, but it's a funny one nonetheless. But this reminds, like, is it leaning? Is it not? I mean, and low tech, like what you just said there. I mean, this reminds me of the story about how, NASA spent X number of dollars developing a pen that would work in space, and the Russians took pencils.
Yeah.
Except I've been told that story is apocryphal.
Yeah.
But,
Graphite dust, etc., etc.
But it's because you don't want graphite floating around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, it illustrates the high-tech, low-tech element of it.
So I will say, folks, it is leaning. I do believe that it is absolutely leaning, but it's okay for it to lean. Remember, those legs on the SN, the legs on Starship, I should say, have a little bit of give to them. They're allowed to compress just a bit to absorb some of the force of that landing. Remember, with a single Raptor engine in a 3X configuration, the thrust of the Raptor is off-center, so as it was hopping, you could see it. It was actually leaning a little bit, and when it touches down, no matter what, one side of the Starship is going to touch down before the other, simply because with only one Raptor, you have asymmetric thrust. The thrust is not exactly in the center of the center of mass of that vehicle, so it has to lean a little bit to fly straight up and down. And when it touches down like this, it is totally expected that one side of it will touch down first. They're not exactly crush cores, but the slip fittings, or whatever you want to call it, on the landing legs will compress a little bit, and then when the other legs touch down, they all sort of lock into position, and it is normal for it to be leaning like this. That is sort of as designed, given the asymmetric thrust of the single Raptor engine on there. So I am going to circle back and check in with Mary. I know it's super hot out there, and I also know that Mary has some local footage that she wants to upload. So let's make sure she gets that going as soon as she can.
So I have a question for our viewers, actually. I have a question for you all. What would you rate that on the Chris G Excitement Index of streaming? But that was absolutely amazing, and I know Mary is saying in our back channel that hop was amazing. I mean, from her perspective too. I mean, I love that it just hovered too. Like, I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but
yeah.
But when it hung there in the air for a minute, at first I thought maybe our feed had hiccuped a minute, right? Because I literally was not expecting it to hold as rock solid as it did. That, I have to say, is some impressive throttling of the Raptor.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And Chris, I'm actually setting up a replay here so we can roll a replay. And I'm also asking Mary what she wants her plan to be. Is she going to go and upload that stuff? Or what is the plan here? Y'all know me, all business. It's like, okay, there was a hop. Okay, now Mary needs to upload. But I do have a replay that we'll be able to do. Let me just get in touch with Mary and see what she wants.
That sounds good. But yeah, so that was incredible. For those of you who might just be tuning in, we have had a successful hop of Starship SN6. It launched from the off to the left-hand side of your screen there. You can see one of the launch mounts, one of the two launch mounts there, and that is the one that it lifted off from. And it is resting nice and safe on its landing pad. Yes, it does look like it's leaning, but that's okay. As Das was talking about, there is a asymmetrical thrust from the Raptor because the Raptor engine is not dead center of the vehicle, so a lean is not necessarily unexpected. SN5 was leaning just a little bit, but no big things. As Chris Bergen said, it's the up-down part that counts.
Yeah,
that is exactly, and there it is. That hang, when it just hangs in the air there for a minute, it's just, that's so cool.
And chat, I will bring that replay back to full screen. I'm communicating with Mary on the back end here, and I just put it in the picture-in-picture for now. But that was the replay of the successful SN5 hop. We'll definitely make that bigger. We can go frame by frame and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think people just want to hear me scream, "That hang is so cool!" one more time.
Yeah.
Because that just appears to be what I'm going to say every time I see this video now. Oh, man. Someone in chat, the Leaning Tower of Pizza. How about the Leaning Tower of Boca?
Nice.
What about the Leaning Tower of Boca? That works. Wow.
Chris,
so yeah.
What do you think on this? I'm trying to make sure Mary is free to get that video uploaded. Should we have her shut down the live feed and just do the replay a couple times, or what do you want to do?
I think shutting down and doing the replay is good. I mean, the hop is successful. Nothing else, and let's be clear, nothing else is going to happen. Right? They're not going to suddenly reignite the Raptor and fly it
hop
back
again.
And fly it back onto the launch stand. That would be cool, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think we can for Mary to upload the local footage and everything, which I know people are dying to see as well. Yes, why don't we go ahead and end this live stream? Oh wait, someone's saying that the Rocket Lab announcement is happening. Can we put the Rocket Lab announcement up?
We could. Give me just 1 second. Let me communicate with Mary
Rocket
here.
Lab is live. Yeah.
All right, yeah, so Chris, I've just told Mary she is clear to stop the live feed, and we will go over to replays and look at this. We could also talk about Rocket Lab for sure, but Mary will be shutting down. Yeah.
Cool. Why don't we keep the stream on our replays for Starship, since that's what people are ultimately here for, and I will watch social media and what our folks are saying who are watching the Rocket Lab announcement.
Yeah. Let me hop over here. So again, y'all, that is we're going to shut down the live feed from Boca Chica, and we are going to switch over to apparently my desktop. Let's just make that full screen there, and we can do a couple replays and talk about the hop. I've got to bring this back because I think this is actually after the hop. Literally just replaying the YouTube video for you. So right there should be about the right time. And is this on a force overlay? No, it's not, but we'll remove that bottom overlay. So this is a replay, if we can put that up on the screen. This is the replay of the hop. The vehicle has successfully landed, and this is a replay of something that happened just a little bit ago. So let's watch the replay one more time here. It happens just after this. We've already removed the top, and there is the ignition. There, it clears the launch stand. It doesn't have a lot to clear because it's sort of standing on the top of the launch stand there. Gets a little bit of acceleration. You can still see that side vent. It's actually venting like crazy, and you can actually see some of the flow of the engine creating a vacuum behind the vehicle. That's actually a really cool thing. I'll scroll back and I'll show y'all what I'm observing there. But look at the mock diamonds in that Raptor. You can see where the atmosphere is bouncing that exhaust off the atmosphere, then it bounces off the exhaust, and it bounces off the atmosphere, bounces off the exhaust. Some venting on the sides there. Oh, Chris.
What? Sorry.
We got the landing leg deploy.
Yo, there they are. Look at that.
Yeah, look. I'm going to back it up. I was on the wrong computer. Sorry. We got the landing legs deploy. Watch right here. Right? There, you can see the landing legs pop out.
That is so cool. I'm waiting for it to go back over to the. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Look at that. Boing. Those things don't play around. They come right out, don't they?
No, just. Right.
Boing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, that's really cool that the shot was so good that we could see that, and we got enough wind today blowing that dust cloud out of the way. Fantastic work by Mary down there, that's for sure, running all these cameras.
And look at those. Is that a thruster firing there, like halfway up the vehicle, or 3/4 of the way up the vehicle? Right before it descends back down into the landing cloud.
I think that may be one of the vents.
One of the vents. Okay.
Yeah, because remember,
I know it doesn't just rise; it rolls too, right?
Yeah, I think it rolled a little bit, and that's like the middle vent that is going off there. I don't know that one is a thruster, but we'll certainly go over it again. Right there is what you're talking about. This little vent right there is what you're talking about, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, Chris. I'm gonna keep making sure that Mary is all good to go.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What did I say?
But
What did I say? SN something again? Did I
I
call it
don't know.
SN4 or something? I don't know why I keep messing that up. Thank you, Starbucks. Even
Starbucks.
Starbucks excited by the launch. Chat, did I mess up again? Did I say SN6 or SN4 or SN8 or did I say something else? I keep messing that one up. There's so many SNs. They need to start naming these. Like this is the good ship Starship or something. I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just named them. They just named them Starship 1,
Yeah.
Starship 2.
Come on. You're making it difficult for me to keep them straight. I'm just going all the way back.
Gosh, I
There's
have to make it difficult for you. Come on. But yes. So I mean, this was honestly. I mean, this is honestly truly one of those moments where like you are watching it. I mean, you're watching a moon ship and a Mars ship
yeah.
do something.
Do
Right?
something, yeah.
Because this is not this is not SpaceX just doing it for SpaceX anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. This is Starship, which has a place in the human lunar landing system for NASA. This is a ship that has a role in SpaceX's long-term ambition plans. I'm not really long-term right now if the timeline kind of holds, but I mean, these are ships that are actually contracted to do things right now that we are watching being tested, and that is incredible to watch a human lunar lander doing tests like this out in the open. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was frame by framing it around the leg deploy there is what I was doing.
Nice.
I know it's not the
'Cause you're
cleanest
over there,
replay.
and I'm kind of watching Rocket Lab's announcement out of the corner of my eye right now too, to see what they've got going on.
Yeah. Folks, while we go through these replays and stuff, I got to say one more time, there's an entire stack of super chats that we have not been able to go through. I don't even know if we'll be able to go through all of them because the queue is so backlogged right now. But I will say thank y'all so much for joining us for the live stream here today. Thank you for all the different ways you support us, including the I saw quite a few people saying they were watching the stream with their Texas Tank Watchers merchandise on. If you don't know what we're talking about when it comes down to the Texas Tank Watchers merchandise, if you go to our shop, NASASpaceflight.com/shop, I'll put a link into chat like this, you can see some of our cool merchandise, including that nice hat. This is the Texas Tank Watchers hat. It's a really nice embroidered hat in a couple different colors. We've also got a hoodie with the Texas Tank Watchers logo on it too. It's like the 80s retro feel on the logo. There's a couple different t-shirts and stuff like that. You can get the Texas Tank Watchers in a t-shirt as well. These prints of the sunrise, if you watch the daily videos, Mary takes these amazing shots and videos and time lapses of the sunrises, and we have those both in the nice print and in a poster sort of form factor now. I mean, at $130, this was a little bit pricey, and so we have a poster which is easier to ship, $28, $38. Those are US there. We've got mugs, we've got beach towels that look like AHCDS, the drone ships. There's that roadside rocket science shirt like I'm wearing right now. Eat, sleep, lunch, repeat. What else do we have? Mugs. I mean, the whole shooting match. Where's the Endeavor shirt? Here's the Endeavor shirt. If you're a fan of the Dragon Endeavor, there is a shirt that we created that has 4 different variants of Endeavor: a sailing tall ship, an Apollo capsule, a space shuttle, and the Dragon Endeavor across the top of it there. So those are just a couple different ways you can support the stream. Just by showing up and seeing us is a good way to do it. But that is NASASpaceflight.com/shop right there. And I'll put those links in chat as well. Ooh. If you get any merch and you send a picture of it to us, tweet us out on Twitter. Let us know what you look like. Get us some action shots of the merch in action. Chris, how's Rocket Lab doing? Have they announced anything crazy yet? Or
so Peter Beck is basically announcing that the surprise was on the flight that just launched earlier this week. It wasn't Capella. It wasn't just Capella that was on board. The first Photon satellite from Rocket Lab was on board and is functioning properly and well within orbit. So that's what they've said so far.
Okay.
I'm still listening, but that's what they've said so far.
I'll let you keep listening.
Okay.
So again, y'all, this is a replay of the hop. There, it's in the upper right-hand corner. We are playing some replays of the successful SN6 hop. And there, right there, you see how it's already angled? As it goes down due to the off-center thrust of that Raptor, you can see that it angles. And when the smoke actually clears, when the dust clears, that's not smoke, that's dust. When the dust clears, you can see that it's angled in the same way that it was right before it disappeared into the cloud. Let me back that up. Right here, you can actually see that it is angled this way just a bit. I'm exaggerating it, right? It is angled just a little bit. And when it lands, we have that same sort of left-leaning angle down there when the smoke clears. So I do believe that that is what happened. Right there, you can see that it's angled just a little bit to the side because that's the side that impacted first. I want to talk a little bit about the landing legs on this thing. The landing legs have a force absorbing slip joint. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but imagine, if you will, you have two parts to the landing leg. It's almost like the landing leg is a piston, and you have an outer part and then you have an inner part that fits like this, right? And I drew them really close together. Maybe I should exaggerate that a little bit more. You have an outer part that looks like that, and then you have an inner part that sort of looks like this, right? And whenever it touches down, you get the legs hitting the ground and exerting a force like this, and that allows it to sort of slip up a little bit. And I don't know, it may very well be tapered, or it may have some sort of stop, but the more you compress it, if it was me, I would make it encounter more and more resistance. And so when it starts off, the landing leg may be all the way down here like this, and when it touches the ground, it sort of slides up in. It slips in some way. I'm going to say it slips in some way. I don't know if it's the bottom is the inside, the top is the outside. There's something that allows those legs to compress a little bit intentionally, absorbing the force of that Starship touching down, especially when you have it touching down like this. Again, I'm exaggerating this for the purposes of illustration. And you have landing legs on this side. You have landing legs on this side, right? You have actually 6 landing legs on there. The other ones are behind it. You can't see them. But if they touch down, wow, that ground is terrible. I am doing really bad with the illustration. There we go. Delete that. And when they touch down on the ground, of course, you're going to get one side impacting first, touching down first. That's going to go through that slip joint, like I said. And again, I don't know that it's specifically a slip joint inside, outside. There's something that allows them to absorb a little bit of force here. So that'll slip up in there. And then once it all settles down, you'll have some landing legs that are a little bit shorter than the other landing legs, resulting in a little bit of a lean off the vertical there, right? So all that nominal, that is expected. That's sort of why it's leaning in that direction. If you don't understand why it has to fly at a little bit of a lean, consider the Raptor engine, right? So you look at the bottom of the thing. Go ahead, Chris.
No, sorry. I'm laughing at what you're saying. I just thought that was a really funny way of saying it, but a good way of saying it was consider the Raptor engine.
Yeah,
I'm
consider the
Raptor.
Raptor.
That beast that's underneath that you don't see.
Yeah. And again,
Rocket Lab is basically just they launched the first Photon satellite, which is and really what they're talking about is using the Photon satellite base as not just a base, but as the main satellite itself for customers. So if there are innovation ideas that they don't really want to build a satellite themselves, they just need something to stick it on real quick that'll do all the controls.
Yep.
Basically, Rocket Lab's got that. And what they're really talking about is using Photon to reduce the amount of time and the cost that it takes to get small satellite technology demonstrators into orbit. But he is also talking about its use for the NASA lunar mission that's coming up early next year, which will launch from LC2 from Wallops in the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport in Virginia. And he has multiple times referred to Rocket Lab's ambitions to do things with Venus.
Gotcha.
The forgotten sister planet of Earth. So that's really what they're talking about right now, and that the first one launched on the return to flight mission and is functioning perfectly and giving all of those potential customers the confidence that Photon can do what Rocket Lab has been saying for the last year that it can do. So that's their big announcement right now.
Gotcha. Thank you, Chris. Again, y'all, Chris is keeping up with that Rocket Lab live stream that's happening, giving us a little bit of information on what Peter Beck, the guy in charge over at Rocket Lab, the CEO of Rocket Lab, right?
Yes, and
Yeah,
he
okay.
did confirm, that every single part of the return to flight mission earlier this week went exactly to plan, and they inserted the payload into a very precise orbit as designed.
Excellent.
So very good all around for that.
Good deal. So y'all, what I'm drawing on the screen here, I'm again exaggerating a little bit. I've got a Starship SN6 or whatever. Oh, there's my verticator. my
A
my
Starship SN6. I
yeah.
like that. Is
I
that
drew
is that one of the new variants?
I drew it myself, yes, so that I don't have to remember what the right number we're on. I just say Starship SN6. SN whatever is what I should call it. But on the screen, you see I've sort of exaggerated the placement of the Raptor engine. Remember, if you look up at the bottom of this thing, there are 3 points that they're going to put 3 Raptors on at the bottom, and you would see 3 different engine bells if you were sort of looking up at it like that, right? So I'm exaggerating this one Raptor underneath the bottom. And imagine you've got that big heavy mass up on the top, the mass simulator, and somewhere in the middle of here, you're going to have the center of mass, right? That's sort of where the average mass is. If you're trying to balance something, you have to balance it on the center of mass. But look at this. If you have a rocket engine and it's firing straight up and it's not actually pushing on the center of mass, but it's pushing off to one side, you have what's called a lever arm. And if you have a lever arm, you're going to get the vehicle rotating a little bit. Think of this. If you have something that you want to balance in your hand, like you're trying to balance a ruler or something like that, you can't just put your finger on one end of the ruler and expect the entire ruler to stay balanced, right? I'll draw a ruler. Look, this is a ruler. If you put the balance point on one end, the ruler is going to fall. You can't balance it that way, right? So what SpaceX needs to do here, because they can't put the balance point in the middle, right there, if you put the balance point on the center of mass, then you have equal force on each side and it'll stay nice and balanced. They can't do that when they only have one Raptor on board. When they have one Raptor on board, it ends up looking like this. It is an unbalanced ruler. And so I'm deleting as fast as I can there. And when the ruler is slightly balanced like this, they don't want it to rotate like that. Same thing here. Just imagine that this lever arm is a little ruler and they're applying the force not on the center of the Starship. When they do that, the Starship is going to want to rotate like this. So how do you fix it? You lean the entire Starship over. Check this out. Let me see if I can strategically redraw this. All right, get rid of the Starship. There you go. There you go. I'm leaving the center of mass there for a reason, right? If you lean the entire Starship over, am I going to do this correctly? Nope, it goes the other way. Nope, it does go this way. Yeah, it doesn't go like this, right? And again, I'm exaggerating it. If you lean the Starship over, you can actually fire the engine through the center of mass. And so it'll look like it's flying straight up and down. I guess I did need to edit the center of mass for that illustration. But it'll look like the Starship is actually hovering straight up and down, but the entire Starship is going to need to be leaned. I think I can do a better job of that. Let me try that again. If you have a Starship that's leaning like this, and you have the center of mass here, and you have the Raptor down here, and that's still leaning too much. My Starship would actually flip over. Let's draw it this way. Engine, center of mass, straight up and down, roughly make the engine bigger. All right, good. I didn't practice drawing this in advance is what I didn't do. Entire Starship leaning slightly with an off-centered engine. That's pretty close. That makes sense. I feel like that makes sense there. I was doing it okay, then it sort of went off the rails as I tried to delete things. But that right there is in a nutshell. Wow, that is some terrible arrow drawing there. That is in a nutshell why whenever it flies, it has to fly at a little bit of an angle. When we see a Starship fly that has 3 engines on the bottom, we will not see them fly at angles like that anymore. If you had the full complement of 3 symmetrical engines on the bottom, then your Starship could actually fly straight up and down because all the engines would on average be firing right through the center of mass and it wouldn't need to lean like this. The leaning thing is going to be a limited time thing you see with these hops until SpaceX starts putting more than one Raptor engine on them. I hope I didn't confuse anybody there. Let me see. Yeah, terrible arrow drawing, math essentials. And that is assuming they're firing all 3, et cetera, et cetera. Why not have 2? If you had 2, you would get a little bit closer the center of mass, but 2 would still lean. It probably just wouldn't lean quite so much. Yeah, limited edition leaning Starship. That's exactly right. It's the limited edition leaning Starship. I like it.
I like that too. That has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, we talk about witnessing history, right? And we really are like these leaning starships that go through flights leaning like that. Those aren't going to happen forever. There's no reason for them to. And at some point, you'll be able to look back and say, oh, I remember back in the day when they only put one Raptor on it. And when it flew, it leaned uphill in the dust both ways or whatever, right?
So like back in the day, you mean like 2 months from now?
Yeah, like 2 months. Yeah, like 2. Back in my day, a bunch of young whippersnappers.
At the rate they're going, I mean, that's not necessarily a false statement. I mean, but they want to. I mean, just look at what Elon was starting to announce with the Super Heavy booster, and it's like,
yeah,
are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing. Like, the building to build it isn't even done yet.
No kidding. I'm just gonna keep this looping here, y'all. Let me do this, Chris. Is there anything else big with Rocket Lab, or was that their announcement so far?
That's been. Let me check social media. That was basically their announcement. He didn't appear to be building to anything else major, but let me check. I think Thomas was listening to that. Yeah, Thomas was listening to it. His tweet is breaking: Rocket Lab launched their first Photon satellite named First Light on Electron 14. So that's basically been what it's been about so far.
Gotcha. I think chat is doing super chats to try and get me an art degree. Really, y'all? You've got to be kidding me. Your drawing illustrations are naturally intuitive and super, very arty. Thank you, James. I appreciate the kind words. Oh, Chris. Look, I didn't even talk about this yet. Tell me if what I think I'm seeing makes sense to you here, okay? I want you to watch the flow of the left-hand vent and its interaction with the rocket plume. Everybody watch this replay, and then I'm going to do some drawing on the screen again. Watch this.
Hang on. Let me get to YouTube.
What? No. Sorry, you're not allowed.
No, I'm watching on our preview, and I can't expand it for some reason. Let me get to
YouTube. Yeah, tell me when you're ready.
I watch our preview so I can see what you guys are all seeing live. So I'm not commenting on weird things. I'm good.
Okay, ready to go? All right, chat, y'all ready? Watch this. I want you to watch the vent on the left-hand side. This little vent right here. I'm going to mouse it, right? All right, watch this. Do you see how it's getting sucked back into the exhaust for a second?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Research, that is not uncommon at all.
Yeah.
As these engines fire, they can create a vacuum as things are being as oxygen is being and air is being sucked in. So this is not unsurprising to see that. What is interesting, some rockets, you can go back on YouTube and for them. Because if John Cross is listening, he knows the vehicle I'm about to name. This happened on the space shuttle, but with hydrogen, with ambient hydrogen that would collect between the booster rockets and the external fuel tank. And at liftoff, the way the aerodynamics work with those 2 solid rockets and the 3 liquid-fueled main engines right there is it created a little recirc vacuum that trapped the gaseous hydrogen underneath the external tank. And for missions that went due east out of Kennedy, on some of the long-range tracking cameras, you could actually see the hydrogen starting to burn off as it went up. Now, it was such a low amount of hydrogen, it wasn't a safety consideration, but we see this on launches.
Gotcha.
So this is not surprising to see. Just the first time we've seen it with Starship in such a dramatic way, though.
Yeah, and I want to talk about it. I want to do some more drawing here. Chat, y'all can correct me. It's probably going to be a little bit more aerodynamically complicated than I'm going to try to convey to you. So I'm going to try to get like the 80-20 explanation here. But if I'm not mistaken, what we're seeing here is the Bernoulli principle in action. It's the same way that an airfoil, like a plane wing, works. It's also the same way that an airbrush works. You know, like an airbrush where you have a little can of paint and you blow air across it really quickly. What happens with the Bernoulli principle is when you have in a fluid, air is a fluid, when you have high speed flow, it creates an area of lower pressure. So what does that mean? This rocket engine down on the back, I'm going to make this larger. we have the Raptor rocket engine that's tucked up under the bottom of it there, right? And it's got this exhaust that's coming out of the back. You can actually see the exhaust bouncing off itself. We'll get to that in a second. But you have this exhaust, and that exhaust is moving so quickly, it actually serves to suck in some air from the sides like this. It's creating a vacuum behind the back of SN. And since that vent is venting off the side here, you see sometimes the vent is actually getting caught in that vacuum and sucked into the bottom of the rocket. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Bernoulli principle, right? And so what you can also see, it's the same sort of thing with an airbrush. Imagine an airbrush, and I'm going to draw like a little reservoir, right? This is a reservoir. It would have some paint in it, and it would have a little tube like this, right? And then you have another tube at the top. That tube is way too big, but whatever, I'll draw it this way. You have another tube at the top, and that goes down to like a, let's just draw an air tank. This is going to be an air tank down here with a little curly hose. And in an airbrush, what you do is you blow air through here at really high speeds and pressures, and it's going past that little hole so much that it actually sucks some paint up into the tube, and then you get paint coming out like this in sort of a high speed flow like that, right? And y'all can certainly correct me on this. It's not a vacuum, it's an area of lower pressure, right? It's not creating a full-on vacuum, it's creating an area of lower pressure. Thank you, that is technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. It's a relative vacuum compared
yes,
to ambient.
I love
it.
I'm sorry, I love that. Thank you for quoting one of my favorite episodes of Futurama. That is awesome. Thank you.
I'm completely okay with it. But that's the same thing you have going on here. You have this high-speed flow at the bottom. The high-speed flow creates an area of lower pressure, and then you're getting that sort of a little bit of suction effect that's pulling that vent off the side. Same way that airfoils work. If you look at an airfoil, you have an airfoil that sort of looks like this. You have air that goes at the wing, and you have air that goes under the wing, right? And the air that goes over the top of the wing actually has a longer distance to go. It's the camber. It's got a longer distance. So in order to meet up, it's got to go a little bit faster. So you get this higher speed air above the wing, normal speed air below the wing, and it's the speed differential and therefore the pressure differential that actually creates lift on an airliner. That is the basic physics of how an airplane stays up, is the pressure differential here. So I thought that was really cool. It's just this little basic physical thing. You can do this yourself. If you're at home and you have a straw, sorry, the STEM educational part of me is going to come out. If you're at home and you have a straw, if you get a cup and you get a straw, you put water in the cup, you put the straw down to the cup, and you blow really hard over the top of the straw, you can actually make the water rise up into the straw because you're blowing the air over the top of it. I got to draw this one too. All right, look, you got a cup like this, right? You put some water in the cup, that's water. You put a straw down into the cup, that's a straw. This is you.
I'm loving this, Joss.
All right, this is you, and you're blowing across the top of the across the top of the straw. And if you blow hard enough, you can actually create that vacuum, create the pressure differential that'll suck some of that water up into the straw. You'll hear it because it'll go, the tone changes, right? But that is that is the Bernoulli principle. I'm going to delete that off the screen.
You know what, Das? If you had been like my art teacher, I probably would have been much more engaged with art than I was going through school. I really liked that. I like Das drawings. You should keep doing them.
Thank you. That's the name of the effect. So it's the Venturi effect. It's the Venturi effect. In the Bernoulli principle is there's a Venturi. Oh, now see it. Now I got to look up the difference between the two because they're both the same sort of concepts, if I'm not mistaken. Venturi effect is what it is. Reduction in fluid pressure that when a fluid flows through a constriction section. No, Venturi is a constricted section. I don't think Venturi is the high speed flow. I think Bernoulli. I'm making sure here, right? That I get it right because I didn't prepare this in advance or anything like that.
Preparing what we're going to say on a live stream?
What?
Is anyone afforded that time? Because I know we aren't.
The Venturi effect is talking about flow increasing as it approaches a constriction. And Bernoulli's principle is the fact that if you have higher speed flow, you get a drop in pressure. So we're not talking about the Venturi effect here. It is Bernoulli's principle about the speed of the flow. When you blow across like the way that an airbrush works, that uses the Venturi effect and Bernoulli's principle and whatever. Anyways, paint works. Jeez, it's fine. Okay, let's do one more play on this here, Chris. I mean, I can sit here and draw all day long, but here's one more.
So could I. Yes.
replay. I really do love the drawing.
Well, no, I shouldn't say I could sit here and draw. I should say I could sit here and watch you draw and explain things to us all day.
I have a lot of fun with that. I have another experiment. Somebody in chat reminded me of another experiment you can do as well. I'll draw some more after this.
There's the hover. There's the hover that I love.
I know.
God, the throttling on that engine is just insane. Like, and I'm sorry, it's the throttling is not insane because of the amount they're throttling. I mean, engines throttle down regularly to 20-30% sometimes.
Yep.
During flight. That's not the thing that's amazing. The thing that is amazing is you got to remember this is still technically a prototype engine. Right. And they are putting it through its paces, and it is just remarkable to see this very new engine, even though this was I believe Michael said this was SN29.
Raptor.
Raptor number 29. But that's still a very early engine in this development sequence, and the fact that they are throttling it successfully that low is incredible. Is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Chris, I'm preparing for another science experiment here.
Okay, go for it.
I apologize.
Science with DOS, yes.
I'm trying to, I apologize, but I have way too much fun with this. And I don't know if there are any younger people watching, if anybody watches with their family, but I love giving little science type experiments that you can do at home and get a little bit better of an understanding of how the way the world works, right? But let me see. I'm gonna see if I can do this. Just stand by. I actually have to tape some things together.
Oh, this is going to be amazing. You're taping things together. Okay.
I am. I've got purple gaff tape and everything. I'm going to see if I can make this work. Let's see.
Oh,
all right.
And you hear the rip. You hear the rip. You know it's coming.
I know. Could you hear that on the stream? Nice.
I sure could. Yeah.
And then I just got to tape this like this. There we go. And Mary's over there uploading, y'all. I mean, she is getting the uploads done. Let me see if I can do this. Aha! It worked. All right, wait.
Love that. See, I love DOS's enthusiasm. This is what I need. Oh, yes.
Y'all are going to have to bear with me real quick. To turn back on. There we go. I need to turn back on the camera. All right. Right. So I've got a marker, just a pen or whatever. This is a whiteboard marker. And I got a piece of tape and I got a piece of paper, right? These are the three things you need to do the science experiment at home. Piece of paper, something to tape it to that's straight, and then something to tape it with. I just used a piece of purple gaff tape there, right? And so what somebody in chat reminded me, I hope this works. I'm doing this live. I hope that this works. By blowing over the top of this, with a high-speed flow, by blowing over the top, I should be able to get the paper to rise up by blowing over the top really quickly. Let me see if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work.
I mean, it did. You can see it start to lift. Yeah, there you go.
You can see that it sort of catches and it sticks up. All I'm doing, I'm not blowing over the bottom of it. It's easy to do if I blow over the bottom of it, right? What I'm doing is I'm blowing over the top of it. And the high-speed flow creates the area lower pressure, and it actually sucks this piece of paper up. A shorter paper would be easier to... Anyways, there's a little science experiment with DOS really quickly here on the NASA Spaceflight live stream.
I think we have our new weekly show, DOS.
Our new weekly show, nice. Oh, I must have turned off... Oh, I'm on the wrong scene, sorry. My bad. We were going back to the close-in zoom here.
Oh, and I was like, that's it. We're done.
Yeah, science we're done. Oh, psychedelic. Okay, there you go. All right. I don't even know where the hop is anymore. A toilet paper roll would be good, too. The shower curtain effect. The same thing happens in the shower, Chris. The same thing happens in the shower. You turn on the shower and the shower curtain sticks to your leg because it keeps billowing
Yep.
inwards for some reason. That is the exact same principle in the shower.
And you're like me. You have like a fortress of bottles keeping it in place. Like...
Keeping it in place. Magnets, sometimes I've seen clips on the side, weights on the bottom. Anyways, y'all, thank y'all for bearing with me in the science with DOS moment there. Texas paper blowers.
I love it. I love it.
Texas paper blowers. Chris, I could literally stay here and do this all day. I mean, I have a lot of fun doing replays and explaining some of the basic things we can see.
I think we've reached a natural conclusion point. Yes.
the grand finale of DOS blowing on the piece of paper to demonstrate the Bernoulli principle is probably a good place to end it.
I agree. Hey, science with DOS, it's always a good place to end.
There will be no shower live streams. Thank you, TOS.
Oh God, yes, no.
Chris, I'm going to scroll through really quickly. There have been so many super chats come in. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything big. Robert Hobson, thank you so much. Something. Robert Hobson, thank you so much for the super chat. $49.99. Robert said a little bit towards DOS telestration classes. I don't know if we can get those to display down on the bottom again, but Robert, thank you so much for the $50 there with my telestration classes. People talking about an HDMI switch or something. Definitely something we can look in there. Fernando Ochoa Olivares, thank you so much for the new membership. I'm just scrolling through. So many super chats. Moldy Space Industries did $60 there. I've apparently been drawing on the screen for 45 minutes because 45 minutes ago, Moldy Space Industries with the $60. Here's Woohoo SN6. Here's to a successful hop. My raise at work for submitting a paper for publication, and it's $400 in super chats total. Moldy Space has been keeping track and has done $400 total in super chats. So Moldy, thank you so much for the continued support. That is nothing to sneeze at. Had a couple 20s in there. Arash, thank you so much. Hey guys, we're all excited for the hop. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Arash. So let's go. Thank you so much for the $20. Chris, somebody named Grain Silo Boy did 50 euros. They said, thank you for all the work you do. I struggle. Your content really helps me feel hopeful and excited about life. Grain Silo Boy, thank you so much for the kind words. We're glad that we can provide a safe, interesting, exciting place for you to hang out. Just an awesome community for you to be a part of. You're welcome here anytime. Thank you so much for the kind words there. Also, there was Dog Cruz coming through with another $20. My contribution towards additional broadcast equipment. We appreciate you, Cruz. I don't want to miss anything that was big. Jimmy Sarah, rear out emergency power to the deflector dish. Thank you, Jimmy Sarah. That must have been when we were doing a hop there, or a camera switch over. Kenneth is a new member. I'm just looking through here, y'all. Don't want to make sure we don't miss anything. Quite a few $9.99s in there, but I literally have 20, 30, 40 super chats in the queue, and we appreciate y'all's support. Let's put it that way. So anyways, there is the hop. Chris, I think it's time for us to shut it down, right? Chris may have just disconnected. He's like, whatever, DOS is just going to keep talking. I'm just going to unplug from the live stream.
Oh, no, sorry. I muted myself so that I didn't accidentally say something while you were running through the super chats. Then I forgot to unmute myself when you asked me a question.
Who wins in screen drawing, John Madden or DOS? Bam!
Oh, DOS. Yeah.
Anyways, I have a lot of fun. It's like, and then the rocket does a dog leg around the coast here, avoiding the space coast, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, y'all, thank you so much for sharing this with us today. I know everybody here at NASA Spaceflight is very happy that we are able to share this with you. We're able to do it because of y'all's support. People that show up and watch the stream, people that click the thumbs up, the likes. I don't know how many likes we can get on this stream, but quite a few. I think we topped out somewhere around 30,000. Chris, 34,000. Nice. 34,000 people was the top today. And that was
fantastic.
Yeah, that was after we had the technical difficulty as we worked to continue to get more and more robust live stream feeds. I think we probably would have been at 45 or 50 if we hadn't had that hiccup. But we do. Yeah, we appreciate everybody absolutely showing up for the streams here so that we can share this with you. Wherever you're watching from all over the world, on behalf of the NASA Spaceflight team, congratulations to SpaceX on another successful Starship prototype hop down there in Boca Chica, Texas. Massive thank you to Mary, Boca Chica gal. The reason we have these live streams is because she goes out there, she braves the heat, she braves the mosquitoes, she braves the wind, the sun, everything like that, and she sets up all this equipment so that we can share these live streams with you today, even changing between cameras in the middle of the stream so we can go from that wide shot to the zoomed in shot. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today here. Again, that's Chris Gebhardt, Assistant Managing Editor with NASA Spaceflight. He was down there at the Cape today, running a live stream camera of his own for the Starlink launch. So, Chris, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, Das. My pleasure. Yes, it's been a busy day already, and surprise, it's not over.
Oh no.
So at almost the exact moment that the Falcon 9 was lifting off from 39A this morning at 8, just a couple minutes before at 8:44, China released airspace closure notices for a launch out of Zhuquan. We believe this is the experimental space plane that has been long delayed for various reasons, not the least of which being the COVID-19 pandemic. They released those notice to airmen and airspace closure notices for a launch at 1:28 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:28 UTC tonight.
Gotcha.
So we're not done, folks. Buckle up.
All right. Oh, Chris, I just realized that the members stream had been running this entire time, so I never shut down the member stream when we lost the live feed. Sorry about that clean feed there, y'all. I forgot about that one, but that's cleaned up as well. Again, thank y'all so much for joining us today with the successful hop there. Chris, thank you for the time. Myself, I am John Galloway with NASA Spaceflight. If you're watching me on Twitch, you may know me as Das, but I'm the guy who talks way too much. Never stop talking, but I really do enjoy sharing this with you. And I got to say myself, thank y'all so much for the support that allows us to keep this going. Why don't we actually switch over to this scene right here? And I got the wrong hat on. I took the Tank Watcher's hat because I didn't want the headset to crush the top of the... What are you going to do? Anyways, folks, for real, thank you all so much for the support. Thank you for joining in for our NASA Spaceflight broadcast here. Congratulations again to SpaceX. Thanks to Mary for being out there. And be on the lookout for the full quality videos. Mary records those things locally. Also, Jack Byer was out there at Boca Chica at a different angle. So when we release the source video edit later today here on the YouTube channel, you may very well see that some things you hadn't seen yet from Jack's perspective and Mary's different cameras that she was operating. But this is going to be the end of the live stream today. Again, thank you all so much for the support. We'll roll the outro. There's Jack's information up there. There's Mary's information as well. We'll roll all these outros. Get your Texas Tank Watching merch, your roadside rocket science merch, nasaspaceflight.com/shop. I think I've said everything. I don't think I need to say anything else. So all I'm going to say is thanks for watching. Later, nerds.
Chamber pressure looks good. Following up. Roger, roll, planet. Water towers, fly! Flight downside at speed off. Off.
Yikes. You bet. Okay. We don't need any more of these.
We need to replace the end of that video with a hop or something. I don't think we need the pop to be in there anymore. I think that's a good idea.